This is how you can go from zero to a six-figure per month Airbnb management business, starting from absolutely zero, owning single property in 5 stages. Now let's get into it straight away. So not anyone can build this, right? Only if you know what you're actually doing. Now this is proof, not a promise, okay? I've done over $11 million worth of bookings since starting 53 Degrees Property, which is my Airbnb management business. I've been paid out over 2 million plus in management fees, and that's money that's actually landed into my bank account. And I manage a portfolio of over $50 million, and I own absolutely zero of it. Now I do have my own property portfolio that I do manage on Airbnb as well. This is $50 million worth of other people's properties. Now, the entire point of the model, right, and why there is genuinely no risk in starting, when you do not own the property, you cannot lose anything that you never put into it, okay? Now, bit about myself to get started. My name is Daniel Budden. I'm founder of AiBNB and 53 Degrees Property. I started the business back in November 2019 with my mum, 50-50 at the start, with the end goal of building a business that actually paid me every single month so that I could actually put money into building my own portfolio. I started with no experience, no money, and a training schedule alongside my Olympic sailing campaign qualifiers. Now, instead of running a business day to day all the time, I wanted to build a business that was completely remote from day one. 90 days later, I'd signed my first 10 properties and made my first 10K in a single month. Now we've got 125 plus properties under management in the UK alone, 20 plus cities, and over 125 million plus in booking revenue from people that I've coached as well. We've also launched in Cape Town and Dubai, and on the right here, you can see last month. So July the 1st to July the 31st, you can see last month's revenue, £380,000 in booking revenue, £56,000 in management commission. Now, this is just my UK management portfolio. This doesn't include damage waivers, which is extra profit. This does not include my rent-to-rent portfolio, which is extra profit. This is just my UK management portfolio. And to show you the real numbers, I can literally refresh my account. This is my live account right now. Last month, 390,000. So if I just refresh this, that's refreshed. That's last week alone. I did £88,000 in bookings. If I click last month, there we go, £392,000 in revenue, 58K in pure management fees. And this is just my UK management portfolio. Now, this is not a flex, all right? It is why you can trust what is coming next. And what is coming next is 5 stages of how you can get started genuinely today. So get your notebook if you haven't already, because I'm going to be dropping some serious game in this video. Now, the opportunity in 3 numbers, right? The opportunity is absolutely massive, particularly in the UK, the US. To be honest with you, this works anywhere in the world. The reason is there's 8 million plus live Airbnb listings in the world, 5 million plus hosts worldwide, and 220 plus countries. Now, most owners never wanted the job, okay? They wanted the income, they wanted no hassle, they're not the 2 a.m. messages, so someone else runs it for them instead, and that someone is you. And that someone can make a lot of money in this, and let me tell you why. Now, who is this for, honestly, right? This video is for people who haven't started yet and you want to run a real business and build an actual fully remote business, not just another side hustle that fizzles out by month 2, or you've already run a few properties, maybe on 3 to 5. To be honest, if you've got 10 plus, this will still be incredibly useful for you because nothing on the internet right now has this level of detail. And if you're stuck doing everything yourself, not much profit to show for it, no real freedom, then this is exactly for you. Now, both of you are in exactly the right place, okay? It is the same framework wherever you are, it's just at different levels, okay? Now, I'm gonna give you some examples here. 3 people, 3 different starting points, 1 framework. Now, what stands out looking back is not the revenue, it is who they became to get there. Now, I'm absolutely huge on mindset, and the version of you today and the version of you where you wanna be, that version of you that has a remote business that makes 10K a month, 20K a month, 25K a month, that version of you is you, and you can make a decision today to become that version just by implementing what I show you here. Now, Helen came to me with 4 properties, making no money at all. She paid a ridiculous amount for someone else's course. I'm literally on the phone to her. She's crying her eyes out. I'm in a train at the time. I remember it so clearly. And like on paper, right? She had 4 properties, has everything she needed. But in reality, she was making no money at all. And she felt completely stuck. Having already invested, like I say, so much money into another program. Today, the business runs without her needing her every single minute of the day. And she has built a 120K extension onto her own home. Now, Helen won't mind me saying this, but she is not tech savvy at all, and she has absolutely smashed it. Went from 4 properties, I believe she's got about 18 properties right now, doing 28K a month in clean profit. Now, the lesson here is most people think, right, they need more opportunities, but usually they just need a better way of operating the ones that they already have. Shane. Now, my man Shane came to me as the lowest point, okay? This was not long ago at all. He came onto one of the calls, was super honest with me and said, Dan, this has to work. I need this to work. Now, this was not really about the business himself. He had lost complete belief in himself, okay? And when that happens, every opportunity starts looking impossible. But over time, something shifted, all right? We rebuilt his confidence, and today he builds businesses that generate income without relying on him every single day. And the lesson here is the biggest breakthroughs usually happen after you change the story you tell yourself, not before. Now, a lot of people have came to me before, I need this to work, Dan, I need this to work. And guess what? It works, because when you say, oh, I'm at my lowest point, or I need to change, that means I know you want to change, and I can help you do that. And then we have Matty as well, 10K a month in profit. He's just got back from Mykonos with me as well. Now, Matty was a professional cyclist who realized the thing he had built his identity around no longer excited him. Very similar to myself, in professional cycling world, the highs are so high and the lows are so low. And he wanted to get himself an actual business that would pay him so he could do what he wanted in his life. This guy had zero experience, age 21, and now I think he did 13K a month last month in profit alone. Now, the lesson here is you do not need years of experience to change your life. Matty did this in just 6 months. You just need the courage to start again before you feel ready. And the list can keep going. And if you haven't already, checked out my AiBNB testimonials page, because Elizabeth was a school teacher, went to 5K a month. Julie out of the 9 to 5, 50K a month. Manny and Pinder, 12K a month in 60 days. Hardeep doing 40K a month. Adam Millington as well, absolute legend, used to coach me in sailing, now stepped out of his full-time teaching role and straight into the business as well. So go check out the testimonials page afterwards if you haven't already. AiBNB testimonials, we'll put a link in the description below. Now, I talked about the opportunity a little bit, but the opportunity is bigger than ever now because of AI. The AI window is so open right now, and it will not stay open forever. So if you move first, you're going to be ahead of the game. Now, the old ceiling has gone, all right? When you used to have 3 to 4 properties, you had to hire a team, or you had to stay small forever. AI has completely closed that gap, all right? And the Airbnb operators building with it from the day one now will completely own the space in 2 years. Everyone else is catching up from behind, right? Now, you do not have to feel ready, okay? No capital sitting in the bank, no property background. None of the operators inside my AiBNB host program had this figured out on the day one either, all right? Or even my AiBNB scale program, who have properties already, all right? They come to me and they say, Dan, I need this to work because something doesn't feel right and I want to change. If that's you, then grab a notebook, because this is going to be incredibly useful, right? You just need to follow the order all the way through. And I'm not joking here. I'm going to go through everything, start to finish, 5 stages. So instead of cherry picking the exciting parts, literally just work through this video and you'll be able to build a business off the back of it. So grab a notebook, no fluff, no 20 minutes convincing you this is a good opportunity. You've already got the number right. We're going to get straight into this. Now, this is the 5-stage roadmap, okay? This is how we go from 0 properties owned all the way up to a 6-figure per month Airbnb management business, right? The order is everything. And this is exactly how I teach it inside the AiBNB host program. It's exactly how I help people scale as well. So stage 1, start phase, okay? This is where we actually set up the business. We do the boring stuff, but the boring stuff is what creates the foundations that we can then build off, okay? We get the business legally set up, we have the right entity, the correct bank account, the correct compliance, and nothing collapses on a hard foundations, right, on a hard question, okay? Next up, stage 2 is the secure phase. This is where we go from 0 to your first signed deal. Or we go from 3 to 5, 5 to 10, 15 to 20, okay? Leads and deals into the pipeline, as many as possible. This is the stage that will decide everything, right? The people who make it and don't make it, the only difference is the self-belief that they can secure their first property. And how do we have that self-belief? We have the confidence off the back of the information that we've taken in. So taking the information, because I'm going to give it all today. Stage 3, list the property. Turn a signed property into a live converting listing. And this is where hosts leave money behind, okay? The list phase is where we make all the money. This is where we list on Airbnb, Booking.com, Verb, and I'll get into all of that later. Then we have the host phase. This is where we run the day-to-day operations on AI and automations, not on you. We let systems do the work, and you don't build a second job. I'm so big on building a fully remote business, all right? You got to look at that business that you want to build, and you can build that today, because why would you wait? If you want to have a fully remote business, build it fully remote from day one, because then you build the exact business you want and you don't build yourself a second job, okay? Next is stage 5, Optimise. This is where we scale the revenue, we protect the business, and we build a team that gets you past what you can do alone. This is where 50K a month live. This is where 100K a month live, all right? Then we have the scale phase, which is not part of this framework, but it's the scale phase, and that's when the layer on top we put that gets us to the serious heights of, like you saw with my property portfolio, 390K a month last month alone. Now, first off, what even is Airbnb management, all right? How do you actually make money from this? For the beginners here, lock this in before anything else, right? Because this decides every single choice you make for the rest of the framework. And if you cannot explain it in your sleep, you will not explain it confidently to a landlord. So this is the model, right? In one breath. You never own the property. You never sign a lease on it. A landlord who already owns the asset pays you a fee to run it professionally on their behalf. No deposit, no mortgage, no exposure on a week month, right? So if we manage a property on Airbnb, the landlord makes 3.5K a month, let's say that's the gross revenue. We charge between 15 and 25% of gross revenue, and that fee is ours, okay? That is the money that we make. On average, you're gonna make between £500 to £1,000 a month per listing that you manage. That is why every single person watching can realistically start regardless of the bank account, because it does not cost money to set up someone else's property. All the costs are the landlord's costs, all right? Now, this is the flow step by step to make it super simple for you, right? Landlord owns the property, okay? Then we have you operate it as a short-term let or Airbnb. Guest finds it on Airbnb, booking.com, and books the property. The booking revenue comes in. You take off the operating costs, the cleaning, the linen, the maintenance, things like that. You take off your management fee on top of that as well. And whatever left goes to the landlord. It is genuinely as simple as that, all right? And this is one real month, one real property from something like a property that I genuinely manage in a city called Chester inside the UK. This is what it looks like, right? Booking revenue for the month in full. Airbnb OTA commission comes off, so that comes off first and it adds up. Payment processing fees, they come off next. My management fee comes off, which was £958 for the month. Cleaning, linen, toiletries, maintenance all comes off as well. This is deducted from what remains. And then you pay what goes to the landlord, which in this case, we paid him 3.3K. Now, 3.3K to the landlord, and my management fee is £958 from one property, all right? That's like 1.2K US, and that's about 1K pounds, right? That's just from one property. 3 properties, you're making 3K a month, and you haven't put any money into setting them up, right? And all you're getting paid for here is arranging the guest check-in, coordinating the cleans, and handling the maintenance, none of which I did myself. I live in Dubai. Everyone's happy, right? Landlord's happy. I'm happy. The entire mechanism, this here is just one from one genuine property. And the point is, you do not have to own the property. You don't have to check in the guest. You don't have to check out the guest. You don't have to do the cleans yourself. You don't have to organize the linen yourself. You just arrange everything, right? And the system's in play that we'll go through today so you can do that. So who does what, right? Let's get through this. Getting this boundary wrong is the most common reason new operators get taken advantage of, or they accidentally take on liability that was never theirs in the first place, right? As an Airbnb management company, you are responsible for this, right? The listing itself kept optimized so it can get booked all the time. The pricing and the calendar, every guest message, the inquiry to check out, coordinating cleaning and maintenance for the landlord, protecting the reviews and the reputation of your company, reporting performance back honestly to the landlord. You are not responsible for the mortgage or the rent, the council tax, the utility bills, the furniture or the refurbishment, or guaranteeing the landlord an income every month. This is not rent to rent, and this is why I love Airbnb management, right? You don't have to put any money into this deal. You get paid to take the property on and then get paid going forward as well. So say this one back to yourself, right? You do not guarantee the income. Nobody honest in this industry can promise a fixed number every month because short let or Airbnb demands moves with seasons, events, and the economy. What you can promise is that you will manage aggressively to maximize what the property earns. It's a completely different promise, right? And it's one that keeps this business sustainable instead of a liability nightmare 6 months in. You are not the landlord. You are the Airbnb operator that manages the landlord's property on their behalf, all right? Now, I said it before, I'll say it again. 1 or 2 well-managed properties run properly can already replace a full-time income. I have one property in London, right? It's managed for a landlord. It does 12K per month in gross revenue. I get paid more than 2K a month in management fees from one single property. You get 2 of them, that's 4K. Most people are getting paid somewhere between 2.5 to 3.5K in the UK after tax, right? You can get 2 properties and replace that instantly, right? Now, it is a margin game, not a volume game. Like I said there, I've just told you one property that can make you 2K a month. This is not a business, right? Where you need 50 units before you can see results. If you get it right on property 1, prove the system to yourself, then repeat it and repeat it and repeat it, you can ultimately build this business as big as you want to build it, right? You find the deal, you close the landlord, you run it properly, and then you build systems that get you out of doing it all yourself. And that is why this business works the way it is, right? That is all this business ever is, right? Find the deal, run it properly on Airbnb and booking.com and all the other platforms that we'll go through later in this video, then build the system that gets you out of doing it all yourself. I'm so big on building a remote management company because that is what you want. You want an actual business, not just another side hustle, right? You don't want another second job. You want to be able to step out of the current job you're in or scale the current business you have. Now, AiBNB is the program that I have. It's the mentorship program behind this masterclass. Same 5 stages you're about to see, except you're not doing it alone. One-on-one mentorship, the template and the contract's already built in a room of people running the same model on their own. I'll get into this more later, but if you want to click down below, you can check out what it looks like. But honestly, we have a lot less in the video, so let's get through all of this. Now, the Airbnb membership, we go through we have monthly check-ins so everyone can execute in the right order. Not because the framework is complicated, as you will see, it's very simple, because the order is what breaks people. The check-in is where the boring parts get done before the exciting ones. We have one-to-one mentorship, monthly check-ins that you can't skip, nothing built from zero. Now, what separates the people who build something real from the people who quit in 2 months is the order, not the information. Now, I'm going to give you all the information today. So if you're ready, let's get into it. Now, if you don't have a notebook at this stage, get one, because I'm about to go into the first of 5 stages. And you've already seen by the length of this video, I'm not holding anything back. And I'm going to be giving you everything you need to know to be able to genuinely start this business and get it to wherever you want to get it to. So stage 1 is start, right? And now before you talk to a single landlord, you need 3 things locked in. You need a legal business, a bank account, and a basic system to track your money. This is the least exciting stage of the whole framework, I'll be honest with you. And the one where people either build something that lasts or something that collapses on the first awkward question. Now, the point of this stage, right, and building a strong foundations from the off is when you build a strong foundations, you are becoming that version of yourself that has an Airbnb management business, right? And this is where people get stuck. Oh, Dan, should I get the business set up? Should I get a bank account? Should I get the system before I've got my first property? Yes, 100% you should, because that version of you at 5 properties, at 10 properties, at 20 properties has a business, right? So just get one today. That's as simple as that, right? Now, this little stage here is UK specific, but if you're not in the UK, message me on Instagram, daniel.budden, send me a DM, and I can send you across what's relevant to your location, because I also help people in Dubai, Cyprus, Ireland, Portugal. I do it inside AiBNB host. We can do any location, just message me on Instagram. Now, for the UK specifically, the company registration process, the SIC code, the ICO registration, every cost in pounds, all built around UK company law. The underlying logic, register a proper legal entity, separate your money, get compliant before you touch any data is universal, right? These are the exact steps and forms are not. Okay, so let's get through it. Now, this holds for everything that follows, okay? The 8-stage guest journey, okay? The pricing logic, the objection handling, all universal, because guest psychology does not change at crossing a border, right? What changes country to country is just the legal licensing and tax layer underneath it, right? But all of this is useful for you, okay? So first off, the first step in the stage phase, the business model, lock it in from day one, all right? Before you register anything official, make one decision consciously out loud if you have to, right? A fully remote Airbnb management company, okay? This is the fully remote part, right? And I want to highlight it because this is what makes me different, okay? That single sentence determines your entire cost structure, your risk profile, and honestly, your mindset for the next 12 months, because you want to filter every single decision through it. I want you genuinely, the people who actually succeed with this and get to where they want to get to, information and support is all the same, but you've got to think like that version of you that already has 5, 10, 15 properties, right? Am I managing an asset or am I trying to own one, right? If you keep drifting towards trying to buy something instead, right? Ownership is a completely different game and a completely different price of entry. You are an Airbnb management company and you're building a fully remote Airbnb management business. Now, if you're in the UK, this is how you register the company right away. If you're not in the UK, you can listen to this, but just skip through to the next part. In the UK, you register a limited company through Companies House, right? It takes less time than people expect, and the costs are even less as well, right? This is what it costs and how long, right? It's about £50 to register now. From February 2026, that doubles to 100. So as of this video, it's about £100 to get started. But acting today, you can get free £50 on the table. Under 24 hours, right? Approval is so fast. It usually comes in through the night. You can do it yourself. Don't have to pay someone. If you do want to pay someone, it'll cost you like £150. Pay an accountant, it's absolutely fine. You want to get yourself a home or virtual address. A virtual office runs at about £10 a month if you want to keep your home private. If not, you can just use your home. And you just put you as a director, straightforward, and list it yourself rather than paying someone. Now, this is the detail that nobody gets right, okay? Your SIC code. It tells Company House, your bank, your accountant, and HMRC in the UK exactly what your business does. And I'm being serious with you guys. I'm going to go through absolutely everything today. So if you haven't got your notepad already, get it out and start making notes. Because for Airbnb and short-let management companies, the code is 68320, management of real estate on a fee or contract basis. Now, most people skip the field or pick something generic like general property, and it causes a real headache later on with banking and tax classification. So simple as that. Get the SIC or the SIC code correct on Companies House in the UK, and then we can get onto naming the company, right? Keep it professional, not cute, right? Words like stays, home, management, short lets, and property signal credibility within half a second of reading them. Avoid using slang and avoid locking yourself into one city or one property type because you will expand beyond it, right? If you're stuck, paste 3 or 4 names you like the sound of into ChatGPT and then ask for variations, as simple as that. Or ask our good friend Claude for some name options based on what you want. Mine is 53 Degrees Property. 53 is the latitude of my first home that I lived in. Starting with my mum as a family business, it made sense for me. It was as simple as that. We got the name, we moved on. Your legal name and your trading name do not have to match, right? ABC Property Management Limited can trade publicly as ABC Stays. Simple as that. Nobody outside Company's House ever needs to see the legal name. My Company's House company is 53 Degrees Property Limited. We trade as 53 Degrees Management, or I could even trade as 53 Degrees Stays if I wanted to, okay? You do not need to lose days agonizing over the perfect name. So many people come to me and they say, Dan, what name should I do? What should I do with this? I just say, look, progress beats perfection at every stage of this, right? You can change the name later on if you want to. You can trade on a different name. You can change the branding. I've changed the branding of 53 Degrees Properties so many times, but the name does not build the brand. You do, and that's what we're going through in today's video. Now, 1.3, brand, domain, email, under an hour, all combined, right? Your job is not to look like a design agency. It is to look credible enough that a landlord hands you the keys without hesitating, right? First thing first, we need a logo. Make it clean and text-based. Your company name is a simple professional font. One dark neutral color, no gradients, no complicated icon. Canva can literally do this for you in 20 minutes. You can ask ChatGPT to make you one. You can ask Claude to make you one. Or if you wanted to pay someone, you can go onto fiverr.com, Fivver, and you can go on there, pay someone to do it for you. Or, like I say, just get AI to do it. It's way simpler. Or just literally go onto Canva, write your name out, change the font, change the color, absolutely done. The colors and fonts, exactly 2 colors, one primary and then one neutral, dark blue, charcoal, forest green, or plain black, and white, all read as professional, nothing neon or playful. One font for the headings, one font for the body, both sans serif, simple as that. Domain, spend no more than £15 total, buy at least a year, and switch on auto renewal so it cannot lapse without you noticing. A .co.uk or .com is the best, whichever is closest to your company name. Some people have started using .ai or .io, and you can do that if you want to. I buy my domains off GoDaddy or 123reg in the UK, very simple, but anywhere, as long as you're spending no more than £15 in total, then you're good. In terms of the email, you want just one email to start with, a professional email address like hello@yourcompany.co.uk or .com, hello@53degreesproperty.com as an example, or you can use info@53degreesproperty.com. Just one domain, one email for now. Want to create it through Google Workspace. Never pitch a landlord from a personal Gmail or your Hotmail from MSN in whenever it was, 2003. Like genuinely, make sure you get a company email from day one. It's very simple. It's not expensive, and it's something you need to do. Landlords will judge you in the first 10 seconds if they literally see daniel@hotmail.io or daniel6design@hotmail.com, etc. Right? If you find yourself 3 hours deep tweaking a shade of blue that is not branding anymore, that is procrastination, wearing a nice outfit, so move on, right? This phase should not take long. Do not overthink it. Progress is better than perfection every single time. Next up, we're going to open a business bank account. This is absolutely non-negotiable, right? No exceptions, right? Mixing personal spending with business income creates a massive mess that follows you into tax season and makes you look so unprofessional at the moment a landlord's asked to see statements, right? What you need to open it: company name, company number, registered address, and your personal ID. That is it. Don't even need a website. No signed contracts, no live property required. So you can open the bank account right now. I choose Revolut Business. It's fast and feature rich, generally pleasant to use from day one. £10 a month estimated, but I'm pretty sure you can get a free version. Starling Business as well, completely free, clean, simple, fully UK regulated, entire fine choice while you keep costs at zero. One account only for now. You'll build more sophisticated structure later, which we'll get into later in this video. But once real landlord income is flowing, which is covered in stage 5, that's when we want to open some more accounts. But for now, one account's fine. And then get yourself a business American Express card. This can be useful later as well for software, ad spend, earning points, but only ever spend what you can pay off in full. It's more of a charge card. You pay it off each month. Next up, track your expenses from day one. Like I say, first off, you do not mix personal and business expenses. I've done this way too much in my life to remind you, like, guys, you do not mix the two. You need to be on top of your expenses from day one. You don't need accounting software, but a simple Google sheet with 7 columns is genuinely all you need at this stage, right? So the 7 columns: date, supplier or description, category, amount, payment method, receipt link, and notes, right? Now the habit is the point, not the spreadsheet, okay? Log the expenses the day it happens, not 3 weeks later when you've forgotten what half of them were for in the first place. Every domain cost, every subscription, every bit of ad spend, every mile on business travel. Save the receipts digitally, drop them into a Google Drive folder, link them in that column, and if a receipt is missing, note that it is missing rather than leaving a blank cell hoping you remember, because you will not, I can guarantee it, right? Set yourself a reminder every single day on Google Calendar to make sure you upload your expenses to this sheet, right? Now, you'll upgrade to a real accounting software later that will track most of this automatically, which we'll get into in the Optimise phase. But for now, simple, consistent, and it's done. Next up, we got register for data protection with the ICO. Almost nobody talks about this one, and genuinely surprises this new operators, even operators who join me with like 5 units, 10 units, 20 units, sometimes even 30 units are not even compliant as they do not sign up for ICO. Why you have to do it, you'll be holding real personal data, landlord contact details, guest names, IDs, phone numbers, emails, booking information. In the UK, any business processing that data must register with the Information Commission Office, and the management companies do not qualify for the exemption, okay? It's £52 a year. It takes about 10 minutes online. You just need your company name, registered address, and a brief description of the data you handle, landlord contact details, guest contact details, booking information, and supplier details, right? Now, this is a mistake that people will make. You assume you are too small to need it. You assume that Airbnb terms somehow cover you, and you quietly delay it until you have guests. None of those hold up, right? Do it before your first booking, not after one goes through. The point is, right, when I want you to think about building this through this video, because I'm literally giving you everything to actually build this, think about that business that you're building, the 5 units, 10 units, 20 units. That business is fully compliant, so you should be fully compliant. That business has AI, so you should implement AI. That business has a company website, so you should have a company website. It's as simple as that, right? You build the exact business that you want, and reality will catch up, okay? Now, in terms of the actual stage one checklist, we want to have the company registered at the company's house with the SIC code 68320, a domain plus professional email, a simple logo and 2 brand colors, business bank account open, expense tracking running, and ICO registered. Okay, that's going to cost you about £130 to £150 total spend so far, plus a handful of hours of admin spread across an afternoon. Now, you now legally exist once you've done all these steps as a real Airbnb management company, right? Not a side hustle with no paperwork behind it, an actual registered business a landlord can look up and trust. And like I say, if you're outside the UK and you want the breakdown of how you can do it in your country, DM me on Instagram, tell me you've watched this video, and we can go through that as well after the video. Now, that's stage one done, right? Legal entity, bank, money tracking, data protection. Now it's time to go and find that first property. So stage 2 is one of my favorite phases, right? This is securing your first listing, right? Now, this is the most important stage of the whole framework, and it's where most people get stuck, honestly. Not the paperwork, not the listing, not the operations, getting a landlord to actually say yes. And by the end of this stage, you should feel like you could pick up the phone right now. And I promise, that is my promise to you. Whether you're at 5 units, 50 units, 500 units, it's the same you, it's the same hours. It's just a different engine underneath. You're just at a different level, all right? Now, this is the wall that everyone hits at property 5 or 6, right? It is not a shortage of landlords. You physically cannot answer one more 2 a.m. Wi-Fi question, chase one more cleaner, or field one more complaint without something else breaking. It is an operations problem, and for years, it keeps good operators small forever, right? That ceiling does not exist anymore, right? AI now does part of that used to need a night shift team, every call, SMS, WhatsApp, and email answered in seconds, 24 hours a day, in more than 30 languages without you or a VA ever touching it. Not a future promise, running inside your portfolio right now. And we'll go into the full detail in stages 4 and 5, but I want you to tell you that because there's no limit to how many properties you can have anymore, right? Now, 5 units, 50 units, 500 units, whatever the level you're at, you can have AI answering the phone at 2 a.m. and dealing with that question. You no longer have to hire a team. And that's the point, right? And that's why when we get into the secure phase, we're going to approach every single landlord conversation from here, knowing that we have that business underneath us, right? I want you to approach every single landlord conversation like you are signing unit 1 of 50, not closing a one-off side hustle, right? I'm flagging it now because at the start of secure, because I want the ceiling gone from your head before you sign your first property, right? Just think about it for a second before we get into how to find your area. I want you to completely embody that version of you that has 5 to 10 units already. Now, that version of you has already signed 5 properties. You need to go into these conversations, right, and go into the secure phase with that in your head that you are someone who has already signed 5 properties, because when you get on a call with a landlord, it's going to be a completely different conversation. You're going to be having this conversation from a place of authority because you've already signed 5 landlords. Now, whether the external reality has actually happened or not, you can create the internal state and act, operate, and make decisions and talk like that version of you, right? So, without further ado, now we know who we're operating as. We're operating as that version of ourselves, already has 5, 10 properties, 30 properties, 50 properties. We're going to go into how to find your area, right? 6 steps, run in order every single time on every single area you consider, right? In 6 years, I've never regretted following it, okay? And I've absolutely regretted the handful of times I've skipped out a phase because I was too excited about a new area. Okay, first stop. We want to confirm the demand actually exists in the area, okay? Open up Airbnb, search the entire homes in the area, pick dates 1 or 2 months out and look, okay? Are the listings booked up? Are reviews coming regularly? That is your first real signal. Now, if I go onto Airbnb, you can see one of my properties right here. Now, if I just click Crewe, because this is a place that I have in the UK, I could select any dates in Crewe. I can just put 6 guests as well. There we go, let's search that. Now, we can see demand exists, right? Because when we go into Crewe, there's a load of listings. And if I go onto any of the properties, there's my properties here, click onto that property. There you go, you can see what's on mine. You can see the dates as well, check and check out. You can see it's currently booked for most of August, right? So the demand obviously exists. I can click into another property. I can go into, let's go into this one. And this is also my property. Is one of mine? Nope, Sarah, cool. Anyway, go into this property, does the demand exist? Are they booked for August? Yeah, they kind of are. Go into another one. Crewe's very long-term place, but if we go into another listing, random one, let's click this one. It's funny because it's probably my property. Yeah, there we go. Cool, does demand exist? Yeah, currently booked out for August. Happy days. So demand obviously exists, right? Okay, now when we get back here, are the reviews coming in regularly? That is the first real signal. When we go onto this property, there's already a review in there as well. When we go on to the other property that we clicked on as well, this property here, are there a good amount of reviews? One of my listings as well. Yeah, 8 reviews, 4.88. There's reviews coming in regularly, okay? And another good sign is like when a operator like myself, 53 property, has multiple properties in one location, that is a good signal that demand exists, right? Next up, identify who is actually booking the properties, right? Pull up 5 to 10 competing listings and study them. Read the reviews, business travelers, families, or weekend tourists. Minimum stay lengths tell you a lot. 2-night minimums with weekend reviews is very different market to a 7-night minimum. So if I go back to these properties here, which are my properties, as you can see, if I click out in October, we've got a 7-night minimum stay, which suggests to me that it's business. Now, I obviously know this is for business. It literally says ideal for professionals. It's one of my properties. But the point is, you're going to be able to tell based off the minimum stay requirement, which is how many nights you have to book, 7-night minimum, whether it's a weekend stay place, whether it's a week-long stay, contractors. If I go to Chester, which I know because it's a place that I operate, if I go to Thursday to Saturday next month, now you're going to see a few different properties come up, but you're going to see as well, like if we're going to this random one here, I guarantee that we can book for 2 nights in September, which means it's more of a short-term location. And I know it's a short-term location because I operate here, but look, I can book 1 night, for example, okay, in the middle of October. So it's obviously a much more short-term luxury townhouse. If I go into the reviews as well, I guarantee it's all for weekends. Yeah, weekend stay, beautiful townhouse, okay? Now, that is how we find out what bookers are actually booking the property. So we know who's actually booking, right? Then we sense check the revenue. Nightly rate multiplied by a realistic occupancy gives you a rough monthly figure. Even this rough pass tells you whether an area is worth pursuing further in the first place, right? And we have a full AI that analyzes properties for us, but you simply put in the address and it will tell you if the property works. That's what all my mentees have access to. They literally put in the property location, spits out whether the deal will work or not. Assess competition honestly, right? Bad listings around you are an opportunity, not a warning. Poor photos, thin descriptions, clunky pricing. You can outperform that from day one. Now, what should worry you is a market saturated with polished listings already pricing aggressively low. Now, I don't believe in market saturation, right? There is so much opportunity in Airbnb. It's absolutely ridiculous. I will take on properties in Chester, Crewe, even though I already have 35 plus in Chester, 18 plus in Crewe. Just saw how many we clicked onto there. I don't believe in saturation if you're the best, and all of my mentees are the same. They have properties in the same areas I have areas. And I literally tell them to get properties there because it works, okay? If there's a company with multiple properties in one location, it's probably a good thing. Next up, think about distance. Now, I always say start roughly within an hour of your own location because you can absolutely manage remotely later once the systems and team are built out. And some of our students manage properties from day one. They've never stepped foot in. Matty has never stepped foot in one of his properties, but that is eventually not from day one. Now, I do believe you can start this fully remotely because a lot of my students have. But the reason I say start within an hour of your own location, because you know the area. Okay, you know the good streets, you know the bad streets. It just makes way more sense. And realistically, your first landlord, which is what we get onto in a second, is probably going to come from your current network, which means it's probably going to be in an area that's pretty close to you, right? Now, know the red light, okay? Walk away if short lets are banned or heavily restricted in a local authority. If demand is genuinely unclear after your research, or if the landlord expectations are widely unrealistic based on the figures that you're trying to give them, there's always another area, right? There are so many cities in the UK, so many cities in the US, the UAE as well. There's in Australia, for example, I have clients there as well. There is so many places you can do this, so many cities, so many opportunities. So don't waste your time on an area where there's loads of heavily restricted in the local authorities, or even if Airbnb is banned. Now, don't get me wrong, London, for example, has a 90-day rule, and we go through how to mitigate this. And London is a very good place to operate. But for your first unit, realistically, you can start anywhere. Like, as long as you can confirm that the demand exists, identify who is booking, sense check the revenue, assess the competition honestly, think about the distance from where you currently are, and then know the red lines, okay? Now, the 75% rule. Whenever you model potential revenue for any property, default to 75% occupancy, never 100%. 100% occupancy is totally unrealistic. 75%, that is a realistic professional baseline UK operators use. I always say the optimal amount is between 72% and somewhere around that 82% maximum, right? Because if you go higher than that, you're pricing way too low, minus long-term bookings, but you're pricing too low if you're higher than that. And if you're lower than that, you're probably pricing too high or you're not optimized. Now, it protects you from over-promising a landlord in the excitement of a first conversation, right? And then under-delivering 3 months later when reality sets in. Do not overpromise a landlord, right? The biggest thing that you're going to get from landlords every single month if you overpromise is, why aren't I making what you told me I was going to make? Now, this is literally 6 steps, 5 minutes to run, and it never fails, and it tells the truth about your area. So that is how we actually find the area, right? Next up, how do we analyze a property in 8 steps? Every single lead, cold inbound, or one you went out and found yourself, runs through the same filter before you ever pick up the phone, all right? First off, this is the 8-step filter. First off, we want to gather the basic information: the address, the property type, the bedrooms, the bathrooms, the maximum guest capacity, the parking. Number 2, sense check the short let stability of the area, suitability. Is it an entire property? Does a layout work for guests? Are there any obvious deal breakers like awkward access, shared facilities, or no natural light? Run it through a property analyzer. My community and my mentees get access to my AI analyzer that automatically analyzes the deals. But you can use something like Property Market Intel that will also have an analyzer in there for you. Not as detailed, but it will work. Or if you've got a spreadsheet as well, all my AiBNB host mentees also get access to a spreadsheet that can do it, but it will output a projected revenue, expenses, the landlord payout, and your management income from a handful of inputs that we just went through above. Default it to 75% occupancy for step 4. Every time, no exceptions. No, this property feels special, right? None like, oh yeah, no, this deal might work. The worst thing you can do when you're taking your first deal on, or 5th deal, or 10th deal, whatever deal you want, is try and make a deal work. If you're trying to make a deal work, leave it, move on to the next. Number 5, input realistic costs, right? Cleaning and linen and consumables, utilities, accounts, tax contribution, if you're doing any of that, your software stack, and a maintenance allowance, right? I always say maintenance allowance can be like 2 to 5% a month, and cleaning and linen should be based on worst case scenario, right? Maximum number of changeovers, probably like 2 a week, right? About 8 changeovers a month. Realistically, I have between like 3 and 4 changeovers a month, but it's best to work on worst case scenarios. So when we give those landlords the figures and we work out what they're going to make, we're not going to overpromise. We're actually not underpromise and then overdeliver. That's what we want, right? Review what comes out, the revenue line, the expense line, what the landlord nets, and your management income at your target fee. Number 7, sense check the landlord expectations against your numbers. Before you show the landlord the numbers, and we'll go into how to do this, ask them what they want, right? If they're expecting double what your analysis shows in that's your first red flag, and you can deal with it in the first call, not 3 weeks in, right? If they say it's half of what you know you can make, then you can pitch a little bit lower again, just to make sure you're going to be under promising and over delivering, right? Then you're just going to decide the outcome, proceed to a call with the landlord, and then request more information or politely decline and move on. And this is a work example, so it's not abstract. 2-bed flat, £120 per night. It's pretty realistic, average from comparable listings. 75% occupancy is roughly 22 nights booked a month. That gross monthly revenue is about 2.6K or 2,640. Realistic operating costs, including the cleaning, the linen, the maintenance, about £700 a month. Let after the cost is 1,940. 18% fee on a 6-month agreement. If you're doing it on gross, it's going to be out £350 a month to you, or this scenario, you're doing it from net. I always charge on gross, make more money, happy days. And then the landlord net figure is about £1,590 a month, likely more, and then a long-term tenancy once voids and wear and tear are factored in as well, right? Now, that is the conversation you're about to have, backed by real numbers instead of guessing it, right? Your biggest risk in this business is not the money, it is the wasted time chasing the wrong deal. I cannot get this into your head enough. Do not try and force a deal to work. The amount of people who get stuck with bad deals because they've tried to make it work from day one. The landlords are annoying because they always message you. When you're trying to get your first deal, just get a deal that works. Make your life easy. Simple as that. Now, building an analyzer from scratch is a few hours work. Inside AiBNB host, all my students get a ready built one. They also get my AI, which automatically analyzes deal for them. But next up is 2.3, and this is about mastering the model before you pitch it, right? You need to fully understand Airbnb management. And like I say, if you're going through this whole video right now, which you should be, get your notepad out because I'm going literally, you can see how long's left. I'm going from start to finish with this. You're getting everything. So first off, you need to explain the whole model calmly in plain English, okay? Without it sounding like a sales pitch. Landlords can smell a rehearsed pitch instantly. What they respond to is a calm competence. Okay, now let's get into it. These are the questions you'll get asked over and over again. So how much can I realistically earn? You want to walk them through your analysis directly on a call, always anchored around that 75% occupancy. Never a best case fantasy. I would even show them worst case scenario, like 50% as well. What happens in a quiet month? You got to be honest with them here, right? Short-term lets, Airbnb fluctuate with seasons and demand, and that is completely normal. It is not a failure in your system. What you commit to is managing the pricing and marketing aggressively and backing yourself that you're going to do it better than anyone else, right? Who pays for the cleaning? Cleaning comes out of the operating revenue before the split, so it is built into the model, not an extra bill landing on their desk. How do I actually get paid if I was a landlord? A clear monthly statement every single month, transferred on a set date, usually the 10th, based on what came in that month. What happens if a guest causes damage? This is covered by deposits or damage waivers built into every single booking. Full detail on that in stage 4. We'll go through that. What is your notice period? Set clearly in the agreement up front so there is never ambiguity later. Now, the notice period is normally flexible. Like you might have if you have a 6-month contract, might be 3 months notice. If it's a 12-month contract, might be 6 months notice. Whatever it is, that can be built into your agreement. All my mentees get access to my contracts. But if a landlord asks you something, right, that you genuinely do not know, never guess or bluff it, right? The answer is that is a great question. Let me confirm the exact detail and come back to you today. Or you just say, cool, that's really, really great question. Let me send across that via email so I can give you a proper answer on that one. Confidence is not knowing every answer instantly. It is never panicking when you do not. If you just make up, right, some BS on the call, the landlord is going to know it and smell it from a mile off, okay? And also, you might say the wrong thing and might tie yourself into something that you don't want in the first place. So if a landlord asks you a question that you genuinely do not know the answer to, never guess it or bluff it. Just say, that's a great question. Let me confirm that over email and get back to you today. Next up is actually how do we generate the leads in the first place, all right? So these are 7 different ways to generate landlord leads. Now, the order genuinely matters, okay? Because most beginners try and skip straight to ads, spend money before they have systems to handle the leads. Then they wonder why nothing converts, all right? So let's get into it. It's tier 1, start here this week, genuinely. If you start this right now and actually implement it, you can build a management business today. Your existing network, right? Almost always the fastest first deal, but the framing matters enormously, all right? Do not ask, would you use my service? That puts people on the spot and gets a polite no. Ask instead, do you know anyone who owns a property and might want hands-off way to earn more from it? To be honest with you, you can even go simple as that. Do you know any landlords? What they're going to say to you, they're going to say no, why, or yes, why. When they say no, why, or yes, why, we can go on to the next stage, right? People back people before they back a brand, okay? The first unit is going to come from someone trusting you, and that someone is probably in your circle right now. 7 degrees of freedom means that we literally can access every single person on the earth within 7 different connections. And this question is easy to say yes to because it comes from cost them nothing, right? Do you know any landlords, all right? Simple question. List for a homework for all of you that you can do right now, list 20 people you know, speak to 10 this week and get a basic business page live today, okay? Now, when they say yes, why, no, why, you can offer them a referral scheme, right? You can go further. You can actively partner with local cleaners, electricians, plumbers, letting agents, and the people that just told you as well. They are inside landlords' homes and conversations every day, and almost none of them have ever been asked to send a referral rate. Now, not only do we refer people, we refer our current network, right? Not only do we give them a referral scheme, we can give them £250 per signed property or 10% of your fee for the first 6 months. What this referral scheme does is it builds a sales team that are working for you every single day, right? Now, the message template you can use, literally copy and paste this. Hey, I run a short-let management company or Airbnb management company in the area. I take over the day-to-day running of Airbnb properties for landlords who want a completely hands-off setup. If you ever come across a landlord who mentions wanting more from their property or is fed up of managing tenants themselves, I pay $250 for every referral that signs on. Happy to also offer a free valuation for anyone you think might fit. Now, that's a very formal message that you can send to people, right, with the referral scheme. Now, if you're just reaching out to your current network, I would honestly say to them, do you know any landlords? They're going to come back with yes, why, no, why. And you say, I've got an Airbnb management in the area. I have a referral fee that I can pass on to you, £250 per signed property or 10% of my fee for the first 6 months. Now, that 10% of your fee means that if you charge 15%, you're going to give a referral of 1.5% for the first 6 months of a signed contract. Next up, networking events. We can still do a referral scheme. Networking events are so good. Honestly, I've put 1 or 2 a month there, but you can do 1 or 2 a week if you can. Consistency will beat frequency, but ultimately, just get consistent with going to them because you're trying to build trust with people here. You're a one-line intro, super simple. I run an Airbnb management business. I manage short lets for landlords who want completely hands-off setup. Ask them back, are you involved in property at all? Do you work with landlords? Follow up with everyone. The follow-up game after a network event is so important. Every single person you meet, follow up. Try to chat to every single person in the room. Great to meet you earlier. Good to chat about property. Would be good to stay in touch. What I like to do when you go to network events, and when I started out, I was going to so many of them every single month. I would chat to as many people in the room as physically possible. And when I follow up the next day, I'd follow up booking in a Google Meet with them to just find out more about what they do. Because when you go to a property network event, right, you can go to property networking events, developer networking events, investor networking events. You can also go to business networking events. All of these people 100% are going to know landlords, right? So it's good just to get conversations, get talking about Airbnb management, get comfortable explaining the service you offer. Next up, tier 2, layer this one on top of once tier 1 is moving. A simple website, right? Done genuinely beats perfect. I said it before, right? Actually making progress beats perfectionism. You can start on Wix or you can lose Lovable. And inside our community, we literally give a prompt that can build a website in seconds. You want a homepage, what you do, who do you help, the problem you solve with an obvious call to action, management, how the service works, realistic expectations sent out plainly, an about section. This one builds more early trust. Basically, the clever design than ever clever design the website ever will, because landlords want to know there is a real person behind the company. Contact, simple and easy to use. Legal, you put your privacy policy and your guest terms. At this stage, your website is a credibility anchor, not a lead generation engine. That comes later on once you layer in genuine SEO content like local area guides, best places to stay pages, which we'll touch on again in stage 5. Now, quickly, let me just show you what my management business looks like. So this is 53 Degrees Property. This is my website. This is literally built on Lovable with AI. It automatically updates every single week and gets optimized. As you can see, I got a great homepage. You can go check it out yourself. Got what landlords say, all the Trustpilot reviews. I got all the Google reviews on here. I've got featured insights for short-let landlords. All of it's targeted to landlords. I've got a book your stay button there, right? Got an FAQ question for landlords on the main page. Got a free estimate link here. So if I click that, it'll go to the contact us with more details. Got the email, the phone number, how we reply quickly, what to include in your inquiry, the areas that we service, about sections. You can see as well, I've also got Airbnb management pages for every single location we work in, guaranteed the rent the same, staging the same, and you'll see I've got loads more. But at the start, all you want, home, Airbnb management or short-let management, about section, contact, and then legal. And like I say, we give a prompt that basically builds a website in seconds on Lovable, so I'd recommend using that. Social media, 2 profiles in parallel. Your personal profile, this will build trust and drive most of your early leads because people trust people. And then a business profile. This is just a credibility check for colder or referred leads who want to verify you are real before applying. If we look at my profile on Instagram, then you're going to see obviously a massive amount of credibility here. Founder of 53 Degrees Property and HostBNB.ai, which we'll get into later. Help people build businesses that give freedom. Obviously, there's a lot of credibility here. There's a lot of brand presence. Even if you go to my 53 Degrees Property page as well. Now, this is a credibility page, okay? We've got 4.6K followers. We've got consistent posting. We've got reels going out. And all it is, right, we've got guest reviews, and I just do post, reel, guest review. Like, that is just pure credibility, right? There's so many posts on there. That's all you need at the start, right? And it links back to my main page as well so people can see who the founder is as well. So from the day one, you want to make sure you've got your personal profile and then a business profile on social media. Instagram works really well. Obviously, get your Facebook profile there as well, and LinkedIn is also pretty important. Now, tier 3, bring this in once the organic channels are already producing, okay? Meta ads, right? Video consistently outperform static graphics. Do not launch static, launch videos, and structure every single ad the exact same way. The hook, the pain point, the solution, and the call to action, okay? The hook can be different, the pain point can be different, but the call to action is always the same, which is a free income estimate. Example hook could be like UK landlords, you fed up of managing tenants. Pain point would be void periods, tenant issues, low returns, the hassle of doing it yourself. Call to action would be get your free Airbnb valuation today. And now something we've found really well that works is literally calling out landlords with empty homes right now, because landlords with empty homes aren't making any money. They're actually losing money, and you can help them, right? When you start out, do £5 to £10 a day to start, full 7 days test before judging them. Judge the lead quality, not the volume, all right? I would much rather pay £10 per qualified deal that closes than £50 for 100 leads and none of them close, right? When you are launching meta ads, you want to be getting to about £4 to £5 per lead, of which we'll go into later as well when we go into the scale of like £4 to £5 per lead. That means about 1 in 4 will close, about 25 to £50 per closed deal, right? And we'll go into a bit more about that later. The playbook once it's live, all right? Do not touch it for the first 3 or 4 days. The meta algorithm is in its learning phase. This is meta ads, right? Check the first 3-second playthrough rate before anything else. If it's below 30%, the hook is broken. 30 to 40% solid, above 40% is a genuine winner. That just means basically how many people are staying on past the first 3 seconds. After a full 7 days, kill the highest cost per lead and keep the lowest cost winners running. One variable at a time in this order: creative, then copy, then audience, then the lead form questions, okay? Scale the budget 20% every 48 hours if you want to absolutely send it. Never double it overnight, which confuses the algorithm completely. Basically, realistically, you should be increasing the budget between 5 to 20% max if you want to actually increase budget. If you just double it, it goes into a learning phase again, which is not ideal. Now, this is what it looks like, okay? Real campaign, real numbers, okay? Now, £300 for a month in ad spend, at around £4 per lead is going to be about 75 leads, okay? 1 in 4 of those are going to be qualified, which means qualified deals you can close, which equals about £16 per qualified lead, okay? 1 in 4 of them, you're probably going to sign them, and that make about £500 a month, right? So we're going to have about 4 to 5 properties signed every single month, making 2 to 2.5K a month from £300 ad spend, okay? Because you're going to basically be paying somewhere around £50 for a qualified deal that you actually sign. And this is my actual live meta ad account as well. You can pull it up. You got £4.23 per lead. And you would have seen as well in the last 30 days, 107 leads. I've only spent £452 in the last 30 days. And we signed 3 to 5 properties a week. Once you get the system in place, it is literally a case of increasing ad spend if you want. I'm pretty happy with 3 to 5 landlords a week, because sometimes each landlord doesn't even equal 1 property, could equal 12 properties. Right now, we've got 31 properties signed in the last 10 days just by going on Facebook ads. Now, you want to automate every single lead that comes in into a shared spreadsheet and a live team notification that instantly arrives, because the speed of response to that lead is so important, because that very often decides who signs. If a landlord has filled out and meta ad form for 15 different people or even 5 different companies, the one who rings first is the one who's probably going to get the deal, most likely. Next up, Google Ads. Google Ads is good because it's so high intent, but it's very expensive and a lot more competitive. You need to make sure you've got a very good website. You want to use tight, exact match keywords like Airbnb management near me or short-term let company. Broad terms like Airbnb or harder let's just burn through the budget on people never going to become a landlord client. A scaling tool best introduced once other channels already have momentum. Honestly, I don't even run Google Ads anymore. Airbnb run Google Ads for my Airbnb listings. I would just leave this out completely and just scale the meta ads because it's so much better ROI. Now, a live leads pool inside Airbnb. Now, I actually have a live leads pool inside AiBNB, real qualified landlord inquiries from my own agency, my management company, generated every single month. I share them directly into the community, first come, first serve basis. I make it as easy as possible for people to start. So next up is organizing your leads so nothing falls through the cracks. Now, the moment you have more than 2 or 3 leads on the go, a notes app or your memory stops being a system, okay? What you want is a nice dashboard, a Notion, or a pipeline that has new inquiry comes in, they've been contacted, call booked, viewing booked, offer sent, contract signed. They are the stages that you should have, right? Okay, because this rule matters more than any tool, right? Every single lead, every single week must sit exactly in one of these 3 states. Actively moving forward, pause with a written reason or time delay, and close entirely. No lead should ever just sit there in limbo with a no or no next action, okay? Most deals do not die because the numbers did not work. They die because nobody followed up on day 4, then day 9, okay? And the landlord quietly moved on to someone who did. It's so important. I built out this in Notion, and I would recommend doing the same. Create yourself a simple database, a simple Kanban view pipeline, which has new inquiry, contacted, call booked, viewing booked, offer sent, contract signed, and move the landlords through that. Make sure you check it every single day and make sure everyone's been followed up to and everyone's up to date. Next up, we're going to get the landlord on a call and handle every single objection. It is so important to get a landlord onto a Google Meet call, because when you do that, you can actually build trust on the call, right? The phone call builds trust fastest in the first conversation. That's what I'd recommend. Then we're going to use WhatsApp to keep that early momentum between calls. And then email. This is your primary channel once things are live, because it keeps everything organized, timestamped, and provable if you ever need to refer back. Before any call, you need to run through this, right, that you've set up with the landlord, okay? Know exactly what you want on the call. Review the lead details one more time. Do a rough numbers sense check. Rehearse your explanation of the model out loud. Anticipate the questions you're likely to get. And end with one clearly defined next step. Never let a call end vague, okay? You either close them, they're going to sign the contract. So that's close them and sign the contract. You've booked a viewing in, or They're going to review, okay? But if they're going to review, you book a follow-up call, okay? Do not just leave them endlessly. Oh, I want to think about it. What do you want to think about? I've gone through everything, all right? And this is every single objection you will ever hear. And knowing these cold is the difference between freezing up and staying completely composed. So take a screenshot, write these down, whatever you want to do, right? The objection, your fee feels too high. Now, I always say this is funny. If you want to have a bit of a joke here, I say, well, if you want to get steak, go to McDonald's or you go to a steak place. Is a steak more expensive? Yes, it is. Okay, makes more sense, right? Well, you want to go to a management company that makes you money, you have to pay a bit more. But if you want to just be normal with it, then do not get defensive, reframe the outcome. I understand that, right? Think of it less of a fee for admin and more as removing the time, the stress, and the guesswork of running this yourself, right? Most landlords find the uplift in bookings and pricing alone covers the fee many times over. And to be honest, it does. If a landlord is self-managing in the first place, they are doing a bad job, and that is why they're on the call in the first place. And you have to remember that, okay? Next up, why would I not just do this myself? Not gonna lie, you absolutely could, okay? And some landlords do. But your time is worth more spent elsewhere. And we already have the pricing tools, the guest pipeline, and the systems built that way would take you months to put together from scratch. And quite frankly, economies of scale, they literally cannot have as good systems of you and they cannot invest as much into marketing because they just don't have the budget for it, all right? Next up, I want guaranteed income. I want to be straight with you. Nobody honest in this industry can guarantee a fixed number every single month because short lets naturally fluctuate with season demand. What I can guarantee is that we manage pricing and marketing aggressively to maximize what the property earns month after month. Now, if someone wants guaranteed rent versus management, the way that I normally frame it is you literally pitch it to them, okay? And because what we're going to talk about here is guaranteed rent or Airbnb management, okay? Now, people do offer guaranteed rent in the industry, but the point is, if you want to move a landlord from that to management, what you say to them, look, I could sit here and offer you guaranteed rent. What's going to happen is I'm going to guarantee your rent. I'm going to make £1,000 to £1,500 a month on top of that in profit for me. The only difference between guaranteed rent and management is that you make that profit and I take a small fee for doing so. That sound fair? And then they're going to say, I want to make that profit, and then you've got them hooked. I heard Airbnb is risky. Acknowledge their underlying concern rather than dismissing it, then walk through exactly how verification, deposits, and insurance protect the property. You can go through how we do the ID verification, the deposits, all the insurance, etc. We'll get onto that a little later anyway. I want to think about it, of course, take your time. Can I check back with you on a specific day? Always pin a concrete follow-up rather than an open-ended question. I want to think about it. First thing I say is, what do you want to think about? Let me help you now on the call. When you go to think about it, what's going to come up? If they say they want time, you say, that's all good. Let's book in a call for next week. Does Thursday work for you? Yeah, book the call. I don't ask them, just book it in. All right. Always pin down a concrete follow-up point rather than leaving it open-ended. If you leave it open-ended, they can just ignore you. Book a follow-up and they have to cancel the call. Another company quoted me cheaper. That is worth asking about directly. What is it actually included in their fee? In our experience, a lower price usually means a slower response times or lighter guest screening, and that shows up in reviews and repeat bookings pretty quickly. Honestly, I would not worry about if a landlord has an objection, to be honest with you. If you believe in your service, which you all should do when you have the knowledge that I'm about to give you, then it should be easy to close landlords because you have all the knowledge to do so. It's just about self-belief. Like I say, if the landlord says to you and you want to get spicy with them on the call, then you can literally say, if you want a steak, do you go to McDonald's or do you go to a steak restaurant? You go to a steak restaurant because you pay more, right? Because you wanted a steak in the first place. And I'm honest with them. I say, if you want McDonald's, you can go elsewhere, but you're not going to get the same service. Next up, right, the reframe for a self-managing landlord. Okay, if they are currently managing this property themselves, right, quote their current earnings back to them, then show the realistic uplifts, right? You are currently earning about £1,500 a month right now. With professional pricing and a full management, that could realistically move closer to 2.5K a month. And you've shown them on the call as well. You've shown them the full analysis. Concrete numbers like that land far better than a vague promise. And you can ask them as well, how much of a difference will £1,000 a month extra make to you right now? What would you do with it? Put them into that version themselves that has already signed with you, okay? And when you're on these calls with the landlords, always say when we work together, when we do this together, when we do that together. You're just hypnotizing them on the call that they're going to be working with you at some point, okay? Now, landlords do not buy channel managers, pricing tools, or dashboards, okay? They buy freedom, higher income, and peace of mind. Every single objection response above sells one of those three outcomes, never the tool itself. And this is why it's so important to find out what the landlord's motivations are in the first place, right? What are they actually on the call for? Do they want more money or do they want more time? When you can find out their golden handcuffs, you can leverage that the whole way through the call. Next up is pricing your Airbnb management service. And this is super simple, so let's just run through this. The standard tiered structure across the UK market, the logic is simple and fair on both sides. The longer the landlord commits to signing with you, the lower the percentage. It is as simple as that, because longer commitments means more stability and lower turnover costs for you. I offer 14% on a 12-month agreement. I offer 18% on a 6-month agreement. And I offer 22% on a rolling agreement. Ultimately, just by if you lowball these figures, it's not going to help you sign landlords, right? The landlord is investing in you and they trust you. Sometimes I'm more expensive, sometimes I'm cheaper. Anyone who's just looking for a cheap deal is not a landlord you want to work with, right? Then we have an onboarding fee. This covers the actual setup work, right? Compliance checks, listing creation, the system setup, the guest access configuration, and the launch preparation, right? National companies charge about £150 to £300 plus professional photos. I charge over £500 for every single listing, but that includes the photos, right? Some run at a deliberate loss to win the client and then recoup it in the first few months of fees. You can price competitively under that range. And to be fair, you could waive the onboarding fee if you really want to get the deal and it's really good and you know it's going to work. But the things that I normally change or the things that I normally negotiate on is the length of the contract. Sometimes we'll offer 14% for a 6-month agreement, or like I say, we'll offer the first month of management free if they sign like the 6-month or 12-month. Next up, time box flexibility wins deals without undercutting yourself, right? A reduced fee for the first month or two while you build the trust and relationship. The keyword is time box, never open-ended. Like I said there, offer the first month half price, offer the first month free, or the first 2 months 30% off, whatever it is. The keyword though is the first 2 months. It's not the first year, okay? If you just discount yourself from day one, you're basically saying you're not worth the thing that you're trying to pitch in the first place, and that does not work, okay? Next up, a discount that never ends is not a discount. There you go. It's just a new price, okay? Now, the middle ground offer, co-hosting. I don't do co-hosting. I just do full management. I will recommend you just do full management, but I'll just briefly touch on what co-hosting is. Not every single landlord wants to hand over full control, right? So instead of losing the deal, what you can do is keep a lighter touch service in your back pocket. The system barely changes, right? Same automated messaging, same pricing tool, same channel manager. What changes is just who owns each decision, right? Light support only about 8 to 10% a month, or a flat fee of $250 to $400. This is just where you handle your automated messaging, the counting, and the pricing and the listing optimization. You don't do any supply or maintenance handling. Quick one on co-hosting, always make sure the listing is on their account because you can't control the reviews this way. You just literally co-host it on their Airbnb account. Then you've got the standard, which is about 10 to 14%, or roughly £400 to £700 a month. And this is the most common tier. Adds cleaning and maintenance coordination plus issue escalation. The owner still approves anything non-routine. Then you've got the heavy one, which is, to be honest, just full management. £700 to £1,000 a month. Adds day-to-day decisions and supplier management. At this point, ask yourself whether it should just be priced as full management, like I say. In full management, you control absolutely everything and the owner stays completely hands-off. In co-hosting, the owner stays involved in some way or shape or form. Some decisions need their sign-off, and suppliers may already be their own choice rather than yours. Honestly, I just pitch full management on everything. Unless a landlord wants to do maintenance, I still charge them the full management fee because it makes it simple, right? Simplicity sells, simplicity scales, and that's what I want to go through. Ultimately, one golden rule across all 3 tiers, okay? Price it relative to your own management fee, okay? Never against other hosts. If the responsibility is not genuinely reduced, the price should not be either. It is a great way to say yes to a landlord who is not quite ready without ever discounting your actual management pricing to compete against your own service, which is about the co-hosting if you want to do it. Next up is the viewing, okay? We've managed to sign the contracts on the viewing. By the time you book a viewing, right, the landlord should already understand your proposal and your rough numbers. The viewing exists to confirm a decision that is basically already made, not explore an unknown. Now, I actually sign contracts before the viewing. My contracts are conditional on a viewing, and you should be able to sell them enough before the viewing that they're going to sign because you're just saying, yeah, look, we both want to work with each other. Let's just do the viewing to make sure we are legit, we are the person you say you are. Sign the contracts before the viewing. They're conditional on the viewing anyway on both sides, but it just means you can go there knowing the deal is yours if you want it to be. Ideally, early on, if it's local, go there in person, or you can do a paid viewing agent, or you can get the landlord to do a full walkthrough video. Like I say, you've already basically got the contract signed. If you are going to the viewing for the first time, you don't have to commit on the spot, even if everything looks absolutely perfect. I would always finalize the details and come back to them with the next steps. Buys you a bit of breathing room to double check the numbers and terms before anything is locked in. To be honest, at this point, you're going to have known anything's going to work anyway. With our new framework, I would have the landlord's contract signed before you even get to that first viewing. This is the contract sign stage, so you can put this before the viewing if you want, but speed genuinely matters here, right? The longer a contract is unsigned or left in an inbox, the more time they have to overthink it, get a second opinion, or simply lose momentum on the deal completely, okay? Same day digitally, okay? Whether you've done the viewing or whether you've done the phone call, whether you've done the video call, use a proper UK-specific management agreement template and get it signed through an e-signature tool like Signable or DocuSign the same day the terms are agreed, whether that's on the viewing or whether that is on the call in the first place, the sales call. If the property is not ready yet, mid-refurbishment, or an existing tenant is still in place, you can lose a landlord exclusivity agreement instead. And this basically says when they go live on Airbnb, you are going to be the management agent, and it's so much better. Sometimes you can pair it with a discount or a waived onboarding fee as a sweetener to lock in that future deal. And you don't pitch it as a landlord exclusivity agreement. You just say, absolutely fine. What we'll do is I'll send across an agreement, which basically says, when you're ready to go live on Airbnb, we will be your management agent. And you're not going to pitch it as an exclusivity that you can only use us. You just pitch it as an agreement saying, look, the reason we sign this is so that when you are ready, we prioritize you and we get you live on Airbnb as fast as possible. Now, the real agreement, not in a generic template, all my students get access to my exact management agreement we use in our own business, ready to edit and send, not something pulled off the internet. I'd recommend making sure you get this signed off by a solicitor. If you don't get a management agreement signed off by a solicitor, and you're risking a lot if a landlord comes back to you. Next up is knowing when to walk away, right? Not every single lead that comes in is going to be a deal, and that's completely fine. It is a sign you are being disciplined, not that you are failing. Like I say, do not try and get a deal to work. You're going to waste so much time trying to force deals to work, and then that is basically failing because you're wasting your time. Red flags worth remembering. The numbers simply do not work. If they don't work, don't take the deal on. The landlord is fixated on guaranteed income figures. They're going to be an absolute pain in the ass later on. The property is in poor condition. They refuse to address it. Anyone who is not willing to invest in the property is not someone you want to work with. You can do things like financing furniture. You can do financing on the staging cost. You can reduce the cost down to them, but if they're not willing to put money into the property, you do not want to work with them because they're going to be a pain in the later on as well. The entire conversation revolves around fees and nothing else. If they want the cheapest option, then tell them to go get the cheapest option because you are not it. You are the best option. And when you know that and you detach from the outcome, you're going to get way more deals anyway. The exact script to turn something away based on the numbers and the current setup, I do not think this is a right fit for our management model right now. I would rather be upfront with you than promising something we cannot realistically deliver. Keep the door open on the way out. I know today, delivered it professionally. And honestly, very often turns into a yes to 6 months later down the line, especially if they go to a cheap management company, it doesn't work. We've had this so many times. Not only do we get a lot of landlords come to us from other companies, we also get a lot of landlords that go with another company and then eventually come to us because we're the best in the first place. And the funny thing is, when you detach from the outcome and you actually let go of deals, you'll be surprised how many come like running back, right? I mean, you got to think that version of yourself with 5, 10, 15 properties, they operate from a place of abundance because they have signed so many deals. And what do I say? Think, act, operate, make decisions like that version of yourself, because that version of yourself is the one with the business that you're currently trying to build. Next up, the mindset that actually gets deals signed. I've literally just gone through this a little bit, but this is the biggest obstacle in the business is rarely the model itself. It is you talking yourself out of making the first phone call in the first place, right? You already know more than 90% of the landlords in your area just from this video alone, let alone once you get inside the community. Every single operator who has built something real has had to push through the imposter syndrome, through landlords who go completely quiet after these 3 follow-up messages, through the discomfort of saying their fee out loud with genuine confidence instead of apologetic half mumble. Rejection maths, right? Most people quit after 2 or 3 no's and quietly conclude the business does not work for them. The ones who win in this business push past 10, sometimes 20, treating each no as a pure information rather than a verdict on their worth. If you only need 10 yeses to build the business you want, you should be more than willing to collect 100 no's to get there. If I said tomorrow, right, if you ring 100 landlords and 100 say no, you will get a guaranteed yes afterwards, you would get on that phone ASAP, but there's no guarantee. To actually believe in this business, you've got to work without that guarantee. And you've just got to know that every single rejection you get is one step closer to a yes. Every door that is a no is one step closer to a door that is a yes, right? It's as simple as that. Discipline will beat motivation, right? Motivation is an emotion and emotions are unreliable. Build tiny daily goals and remove the friction wherever you can with templates and safe scripts. So consistency does not depend on how you happen to feel that morning. You've got to think like a business owner and not a host, right? A host asks, how do I do a task? An owner asks, how do I build a system so this task does not need me specifically? The way I got to where I got to was by thinking like an owner from day one. How do I do this once? And how do I do this never again? Well, whatever part of the business that it came down to. You want to build an ideal fit filter as well and then use it. Saying no to the wrong opportunity early is what protects your capacity to say yes to the right one later. Honestly, when you start to say no, it feels good. When you say no to something, it feels good because you're operating from a place of abundance, saying, I don't need you. I don't need your deal because I've got so many deals, all right? Now, take responsibility without collapsing into self-blame. When something goes wrong, the useful response is, this was my task, here is the fix, and here is the procedure update so it does not happen again. Not, I am bad at this. Every single mistake handled that way becomes a permanent improvement in your systems instead of a bruise to your confidence. Again, if I asked you to fail 100 times tomorrow to succeed, you would 100% start failing 100 times as fast as possible. If I said make 100 mistakes this month and you'll have a 10K a month business, I guarantee you're probably trying to make mistakes as fast as possible. Now, we have a full section inside the AiBNB, which is dedicated purely to mindset layer, because the framework only works if you are psychologically equipped to execute under real uncomfortable friction, not just equipped with the theory, okay? Simple question to you. When do we grow? When we're comfortable or uncomfortable? We grow when we're uncomfortable. So you should live in uncomfort every single day, and building a business will be uncomfortable. But guess what? You're going to be growing every single day. Right, that is stage 2 done. That is how we find a landlord. That's how we qualify. That's how we pitch with confidence, price correctly, and how we close the contract itself. And you can walk away cleanly when it is the wrong deal. Now, if you want a bonus here, free, no catch, send me a DM with the word bonus on Instagram. Everything in this stage, the pricing tiers, the co-hosting breakdown, the full Meta Ads playbook, pulled into one document so you're not trying to hold it above your head. Genuinely free, no catch. Literally just comment bonus under the video or send a direct message on Instagram. I'll send it over myself just for actually sitting through this far already. I know we're a bit far in, but I'm going through everything. I told you this is going to be start to finish, everything you need to know. Next is turning that signed property into a live converting listing. Okay, stage 3. This is the list stage. This is when you have the contract signed. Now the property becomes a real bookable guest-ready listing that converts browsers into bookings. This is where most self-taught hosts quietly leave serious money on the table, or hosts taught by the wrong people, because Airbnb own setup process is designed to get you live fast and not optimized. First off, get the paperwork and compliance right first. Before anything touches the listing, collect a full intake form from the landlord, the legal name, the contact details, proof of ownership. The amount of people that have taken properties on or management, they don't even know if the landlord owns the thing in the first place. You've got to make sure you get proof of ownership, complete access details, and then compliance certificates, right? These are the certificates from day one that are non-negotiables, right? You need to build a business with strong foundations, because that version of you, with a business with 5, 10, 15 properties, has a real business with the strong foundations. Gas safety certificate, a GSC, or gas safety certificate in the UK, right? If there's no gas in the property, it's fine, you don't need it. But if there is gas in the property, then you need one. EICR for electrical safety, fire risk assessment or FRA, working smoke and CO alarms confirmed, the right fire safety equipment on site, PAT testing strongly recommended, even when they're not strictly required, and an EPC as well, an energy performance certificate. If any of it is missing, you pause. You do not go live without it. Verifying this is your job as the manager, providing it is the landlord's job and not yours. You need to own your business compliance, and you've got to get this in place before you start trading live, right? Professional indemnity insurance to protect you by providing the management service, public liability insurance for anything that happens on the properties, membership of a property redress scheme. So if guests, for example, if the guests book direct with you and you're not giving them a refund, they can go to someone else, like a middleman, like a property ombudsman. That's where you need to be part of the property redress scheme. Client money protection, depending on how you structure client money. This is worth a direct conversation with the insurance provider about your specific setup. And if you need contact of one, just message me on Instagram. I can send across. In terms of the next up, we've got interiors, the access, and the details that you save you hours later. A boundary worth being crystal clear on, right? You advise on the interiors, you do not fund them, right? The investment belongs to the landlord, okay? What you guide them toward. Neutral colors, grays, creams, white, maybe some feature walls. They photograph well and appeal to a wide range of guests. Comfort, durable furniture, it has to survive constant turnover. And if you want a company that I use for all my furniture, then just DM me. A sense of space. We need mirrors, we need light, natural touches. We want plants and wooden tones. Easy, clean materials, okay? Everywhere a guest will actually touch. And in reality, I would normally do one feature wall per living room, per bathroom, etc. If you look at one of my properties, we'll get onto in a second, but go on to one of mine. Here we go. Here's one of mine. As you can see, beautiful feature wall in every single room. We've got the orange one in there. We got, what else we got? We've got the kitchen. We've got the pink one in there. We've got the green room. And you can see just a nice pop of color. All the room matches it. Absolutely beautiful. The company I use here for the furniture, like I say, DM me. I can send you the details to get a discount. But all the furniture from one company makes it super easy. Guest access, 3 options ranked by situation. A key safe, fastest and easy setup. Always install a backup safe or backup key safe for spare keys, because a lost key with no backup is unavoidable midnight emergency. The AI will automatically give out the spare lockbox code if a guest loses the key. Simple as that. Make sure it's hidden. A smart lock, best when there is no shared building entrance. It auto-generates a unique code per booking, which also solves half of your check-in messaging for sure. Or you can use a service like Keynest. This is like £25 a month plus VAT. Again, landlord's cost here, not your own cost. This is basically where It works specifically when there are no physical installation is allowed, like big apartment blocks. It uses a local shop as key exchange points. The guests get a code, they give it to the shop owner gives them the keys. Simple as that. Works really well in places like London or Manchester. Now, you want to make sure you know the property inside out before you take a booking, okay? You want the fuse box location, how to reset the boiler, where the stopcock is, the Wi-Fi router location and password, make a model of every single appliance. When something breaks at 11 p.m. on a Friday, you want to be troubleshooting from your phone with a guest, not guessing, all right? And not paying for unnecessary emergency call out because nobody wrote down that the boiler needs a specific reset sequence. We have such a detailed knowledge base for our AI to work off because garbage in, garbage out with AI, or even with VAs, okay? If you give them no information, how do you expect them to reply to the guest? If you give the AI no information, how do you expect it to respond with the right answer? You might need to have a absolutely huge onboarding form to make sure you have every single detail, the dishwasher model number, the photo of the dishwasher, the boiler model, the photo of the boiler, where the fuse box is, all this information, what the tap is, for example. Like all this information is super important because then your AI can do all the heavy lifting for you or your team can. Next up, lock in the cleaning, linen, and waste before you go live. This is always missed. I tell you, you cannot launch right without a reliable cleaning system behind it. This is the single most important operational relationship that will in the whole business because cleanliness drives more reviews and more complaints than anything else you manage. So finding a good cleaner is so important, okay? This is the process done properly, right? First off, assess what you actually need, the size of the property, how frequently the turnover is going to be, whether you need weekend or short notice covers. Favor a small cleaning team or company over a single solo cleaner. A team gives you a built-in cover when someone is sick or on holiday. A solo cleaner is a single point of failure. We use cleaning teams in every single location we do because it makes life so much easier. I'm big on remote, I'm big on outsourcing, and this is the first thing I'm going to outsource. Source candidates through other local operators, local Facebook groups, or simply asking around. We have a contact exchange inside the community which people use to exchange contacts. Someone's not going to refer someone if they don't use them. That's as simple as that. So you can find a good ones there. Number 4, always run a genuine trial clean before committing long term, checking specifically how they handle linen, whether they're properly insured. You can do this before the photos. Before the photos get taken, they're going to do a clean anyway. You can assess their cleaning quality from that. Set the expectations clearly in writing from day one and give them a room-by-room checklist for every single property. All my AiBNB host members get access to this anyway, but you want to have a room-by-room checklist they can fill out. Walk them through the property in person or by video before their first real clean, the access codes, the alarm systems, anything unusual, and require photo proof of completed work, uploaded before the job is considered done from day one, not once you have built trust. Okay. Next up is the linen. 3 options ranked by how hands-free they are. The best one, your cleaner supplies the linen, the supplies, the launders, the linen as part of their service, completely hands off for you. Honestly, just find a cleaner that does the linen at the start. Makes your life way easier. Second is you can hire linen from a dedicated supplier, delivered directly to the property rather than routed through a central storage. And as a last resort, buying your own linen and managing the wash cycle yourself, genuinely not scalable at all past 1 or 2 properties. Just start with the best one. Simple as that. Once you get a bit bigger, you can hire linen to save some costs or make some money. But genuinely, just find a cleaner that supplies the linen for you. Now, the final thing is do not overlook the waste and bins. The amount of people who forget this. On a standard council tax, normal domestic collection applies and you just need someone reliably moving bins out on collection day. But if a property moves on to business rates, which is covered in stage 5, residential collection can stop entirely. And commercial waste contracts about £25 to £50 a month. This is a landlord's charge, not your charge, but you need to flag this proactively rather than letting a landlord discover it the hard way. You do not want a guest leaving a review because the bins have not been collected. It is as simple as making sure someone goes around to the properties on collection day and takes the bins out or the bins are out in the first place. And if you're on business rates, make sure you've got a commercial waste contract set up so the commercial waste gets collected. Now we're moving on to the photography. Now this is the highest return on investment you will ever spend. If you dare put a property listing live on Airbnb without professional photography, you are asking for it to fail. Professional photography costs somewhere between £100 to £250, maybe a bit more for a bigger property. And it is without exaggeration one of the highest return on investments in this entire business, right? Build it into your onboarding fee rather than treating it as optional. 1 extra booking pays for the entire shoot. And if a landlord questions the cost, you have just invested thousands in furnishing this property. That investment is wasted if we do not show it in its best light. 1 extra booking will likely cover the full cost of the shoot. Again, do not make this optional. They have to do it. It's included in your onboarding fee. So you've got to do it. In terms of how to shoot it, do not shoot it yourself. Get a professional photographer, but I would pass this on to them. Ideally, shoot it between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m., neither with flash. Stage every single room first. Beds made tight, clutter and cables out the frame, cushions straightened, dining table set, maybe fresh flowers or folded towels. Stage the active property. We always put out some champagne examples, like you can see here. Back to the property again. Even this one here, we've got, there you go, bottle of wine on the table. All the tables laid. We've also got the beds made. If you go to the beds made. We've also got cupcakes on the end of the bed, I think. Yeah, we do. There we go. Cupcakes on the bed. Super appealing. Like, I know you want to book here, right? That's why other people want to book too. Simple as that. What to capture: the living room, every single bedroom, the kitchen, all bathrooms, the entrance. And edit lightly, all right? Add a touch of brightness and color correction is fine. Resist over editing because guests can tell in the photo that does not match reality, creates instant mistrust at check-in. But for example, if we look at this property here, okay, example property, great, guest favorite, 4.98, amazing reviews. But the photos aren't that great when you compare it to this property, right? Which is one of mine. Look at how these photos pop compared to how these photos pop, okay? They're not terrible, but there is a big difference, right? They pop way more, okay? And the way you do it is ultimately getting a professional photographer to do it for you. But the most important part, to be honest with you, is making sure they get photos of all the angles in the rooms, and then you can choose the best ones. Like, I get a full idea of what this living room looks like from these 4 photos. I get a full idea of what this kitchen looks like. I know exactly what this bedroom looks like. They've got photos from all angles, not overused. Just means the guest knows what the property looks like before they even enter the place. Right. Reordering the gallery alone has been shown to double the bookings. Not new photos, not a lower price, just order, right? Swapping the hero photos and resequencing the gallery with nothing else changed, right? Image order is not a decoration, it is conversion. So when I say image order, I mean when I click onto the listing for the first time, if I click on this property, for example, I don't know who this is, that is the worst set of 3 photos I've ever seen. No one wants to see the outside of the house on the main photos. It's great because the reviews are amazing, but I guarantee it's probably because the price is just too cheap. Like this property, for example, could be making so much more money if, one, they had professional photos in place. I mean, look at these photos compared to the ones I had. And 2, they just changed the first 5 photos, okay? The first 5 photos should be, boom, hero shot, bright landscape, strongest feature, next living room, then bedroom, kitchen, bathroom, and then room by room, the way the guest walks through the property. A few lifestyle shots, practical shots last, okay? Parking, laundry, floor plans. Do not bury your best photo on page 3. Do not open with the utility cupboard or the outside of the property, okay? Look at my one over here. This one, for example, this is the same room in 4 different ways, okay? This one, we see living room, we see bedroom, we see kitchen, we see another bedroom. Go on to this one. This is just someone else's listing. There's just all bedrooms. That's useless for me. This one, living room, kitchen, bedroom, dining room, bedroom. That's one of my properties, which might make sense. Go on to any of my properties. It's all the same, right? It goes through and you can see, there we go. Any of my properties all the same. Best images first. You can see them all there as well. Next up, define the guest before writing a word of copy. Every high converting listing starts with one decision made before anything else. Who specifically is this property for, all right? Not everyone, because that is how you end up with a listing that converts nobody particularly well, right? First off, contractors, what do they want? They want reliable Wi-Fi, parking, a proper workspace, laundry access, often booking longer stays, and they care far more about the function rather than styling. Next up, tourist and weekend stays, photogenic spaces and proximity to attractions. The most photo-driven people, impulse booking guest types of photos are so important. Business travelers, speed, reliability, and a frictionless check-in is almost above everything else. Families, they want space, they want safety features, and ideally a garden or outdoor area. Cots and stairgates will go a long way here, or the option for a travel cot or high chair. I would have that in every single property. Relocation between homes, longer stays, and they want something that feels like a genuine home rather than a hotel. Your photos, your amenities, your pricing structure, and even the tone of your voice and the description should all serve one primary guest type consistently. Do not try to please everyone at once and end up converting no one. If we look at this one, for example, literally says perfect modern 4-bedroom crew, great for business. I'm calling out great for business straight away. If I go down here, go on to, let's see another one here, another one, spacious home, ideal for professionals, and we put sleep safe because contractors like to have a lot of people. In terms of the layout of the listing information as well, super clean bullet points, weekly deep clean available because that's what contractors love, flexible cancellation, love that, ideal for contractors, bed configures as you like, house can sleep up to 8 guests. This is calling out contractors because the way the contractors work is they get paid per room or paid per person. So here they can actually save money if they share a room together. Free Wi-Fi, free parking, smart TV with Netflix, which I love, and weekly cleans, long stay discounts. I'm literally shouting that this is for you contractors, okay? And that's what you should do the same with whatever listing or whichever guest you're trying to convert. Next up are the hidden Airbnb settings panel that doubles your bookings. Airbnb setup flow is deliberately simplified on stage 1, okay? It gets you published so fast, but it hides most of the real settings behind it. When you publish your first listing, you have to go back into the listing and make sure everything is complete, right? 99% of hosts never open the real stage 2 panel. Full amenities, the safety features, the photo tour builder, detailed booking settings, cancellation policy nuances. That gap quietly is one of the biggest reasons listings underperform for months without the host understanding why. And I can kind of show you now an example, if I can find one, where they haven't actually gone into the second panel. If I just find a property, let's try this one, for example. So for example, if we go into here, this person, very simple captions, we can definitely do better than that. But the point is, if I go down, they probably don't have a guidebook. Yeah, no guest guidebook, for example. So they've not gone into the back end of the systems to be able to edit in the first place. And a lot of hosts will actually miss this, all right? Recommended base settings, instant books on, ID required on, advanced notice about 3 hours. You can actually do a bit less if you want, but check in 3 p.m., check out 10 a.m. You can see my own profile here. Make sure your full profile is complete. Show it all, right? And have this as well in your profile. Book direct for a 15% saving. Search 53 Ridge Property. This means when they search 53 Ridge Property, what do they find? They find my website. What do? They click book your stay. They're now my direct website where they can search the listings and they can find all the properties that they can book in different locations. Okay? Simple as that. Another one, go back in and open every single question, right? The core listing details, the capacity, the bedroom count, the bed type, the bathroom count, every single amenity you can honestly tick because these directly control which search filters you appear under. Safety features, this is where your sleep builder inside the photo tour tool. So the where your sleep builder inside the photo tour tool, which is this thing here, where it says where your sleep, got to make sure that's done. A lot of people miss that. Your full booking settings. And you've got to be on flexible cancellation, right? If you're not on flexible cancellation, you're missing out on so many bookings. People do not book flexible cancellation just because they want to cancel the booking, right? They book it because, I mean, it is literally one of the, behind guest favorite, it is one of the most searched terms on Airbnb, flexible cancellation, because no one knows what's going to happen. I book flexible cancellation. I literally choose free cancellation on all my Airbnbs because I don't know what's going to happen. Maybe I don't want to go anymore. Maybe something comes up. They're not intending to cancel. And I can tell you now, you're going to get so many more bookings and the cancellation rate, okay, increases. Your host profile itself, like I said to you before, a real friendly front-facing photo, not a logo, not a landscape shot. I actually personally do a logo, 53 Ridge Property, because I'm a very big brand, but at the start, I would start with your own photo. A short, warm bio, complete ID verification, email, phone number, and payment method on file. This will unlock the verified host badge, which is what you want to get. This is one of the fastest trust signals you can get to a total stranger. The amount of people that don't even complete their host profile is absolutely crazy. As you can see, verified trusted badge there, 2.6K reviews on Airbnb. Then you've got the description structure. Opening line, set the tone, living spaces, sleeping arrangement, practical comforts, location, closing line, reassuring about the arrival. Real description, openers, one per persona. Now, these are options, right, that you can use yourself about different properties. Just examples, right? Family and leisure. A bright, spacious home, perfect for families and groups looking to explore the area in comfort, with generous living space, a fully equipped kitchen, and everything you need for the little ones. This is a stress-free base for your stay. This literally calls out family and leisure straight away. It literally says a perfect place for your little ones. It calls out the families and groups. Contract or business, a practical, comfortable base for contracts and business stays. Fast Wi-Fi, which is what they want, a dedicated workspace, secure parking, and everything set up for longer stays without the hassle. Extended stay pricing early, 10% off for 7+ nights, 25% off for 28+ nights. Now that single line pre-qualifies exactly the guest that you want and filters out the wrong one before they even message you in the first place, okay? Luxury and experience led for those in the luxury market, an elevated stay designed for those who notice the details, from rainfall shower to the styled living spaces. Every single corner of this home has been considered. The tone shifts entirely here. Calmer, it's more refined, never salesy. Luxury is defined by atmosphere and consistency, not by the price point alone, okay? Then going beyond Airbnb, you want to make sure you get a channel manager set up and a booking.com set up as well. Once you manage more than a single listing, doing everything manually inside Airbnb breaks down so fast. And to be honest, when you manage one listing, you should be building these systems out, getting onto booking.com, because again, that version of you with 5, 10, 15, 20, 50 properties has a channel manager. They are on booking.com. They are on multiple platforms, multiple OTAs, online travel agents. What does a channel manager do? I use Guesty. You should use Guesty as well. If you want to get a Guesty discount, then keep me a message on Instagram. We can go through that and how to get it. It syncs your calendar across the platforms. It prevents double bookings. It automates messages centrally instead of platform by platform. What it does is means that like if you get a booking on Airbnb, the channel manager will block it out on booking.com. No more double bookings. It also creates a centralized inbox for all of your OTAs. So Airbnb pulls in, booking.com pulls in, means you can take direct bookings, does loads of stuff. Okay, but they're the main three. Expanding onto booking.com. In tourist-heavy UK markets, it can genuinely outperform Airbnb. It does for me as well. I showed you my dashboard last month. If we go into booking.com, we had Airbnb 160K, 40% of bookings, booking.com 33%. So last month, summer month, 33% from booking.com, 40% from Airbnb. Still, it's a massive proportion. I was on a call with someone today. They weren't on booking.com. Get on booking.com because in tourist-heavy UK markets, it can genuinely outperform Airbnb, especially for business travelers. Booking.com is a hotel platform. Business travelers normally stay in hotels, but if your property's on that platform, then you're going to be in front of the business travelers. Simple as that, right? The trade-off is weaker host protection, so guest screening becomes more important, not less. Minimum guest age should be 23 for lead guest. Avoid single night stays where possible across all platforms. Price roughly 10 to 15% higher than Airbnb. If you price lower on Booking.com than Airbnb, you're actually going to be dropped down in the Airbnb algorithm. So make sure you price higher on Booking.com because Airbnb guests are just better. That 10% offset sorts out the platform fee structure and the added guest risk. Next up is setting your price. Set your base price using real market data and not just a guess, right? Where does the base price even come from? What is the base price? The base price is the price of the listing average for the year. You want to use Airbnb, the own similar listings tool, then cross-check it against comparable listings on Booking.com and Vrbo. Same size, same quality tier, same guest price, same general area. You want to aim for a sensible year-round average, not a fantasy peak season, number that looks impressive on a spreadsheet but never actually books. All my AiBNB host members get access to my pricing assistant. It literally pulls all market data from Airbnb, Booking.com and gives them the exact price for the property they launch. And then what you do with that price is you hand it to a dynamic pricing tool like Price Labs. This price tool is going to automatically adjust every single day based on real demand with clear minimum and maximum guardrails set so it can never price you into accidental loss, all right? Or into an insultingly high rate that kills your occupancy, right? Then you want to layer in your discount structure, 12% off for 7+ nights, 25% off for 28 nights plus. Always checked against your actual profitability first, never just applied blindly, okay? Then we want to switch on the new listing discount. Airbnb automatic new listing discount for your first booking gives the brand a new listing exactly the visibility boost it needs to escape the algorithm's slow cold start period. I don't mind if you net zero on those first bookings because you're going to get 3 good reviews and that's going to boost you up way more than not having that new listing discount on ever will. Another thing as well is all of my AiBNB host members also get access to Daniel AI, who automatically price their listing on top of dynamic pricing tools. Tells them what properties are pacing fast, what's pacing slow, what to change every single day inside their Slack. So the stage 3 checklist, I know it was a bit longer than the other ones, but compliance certificates collected and verified via an onboarding form, access system installed, professional photos taken and ordered correctly, guest persona defined, full listing settings configured, not just stage 1, channel manager connected, ideally use guesty, message me for a discount, dynamic pricing lives within guardrails, use Price Labs. If you want my settings, then hit me a message and we can talk about it. If you now, this is what I have now, right? You have now sat through more general operational detail than most paid courses hand over in their first month, right? Take a second, stretch out a little bit, grab a coffee, and then we can get into the rest. But do not switch off yet because we have 2 more stages, and arguably they're the most important. So that's stage 3 completely done. Your listing is live. It is optimizing. It is pulling the right guest type. Next is where the business either quietly becomes sustainable or quietly becomes a second job that eats every single evening you had. Like I said, this is one of the most important stages. So get back to it, get the notepad out, and let's get into it. All right, next up is the host phase. This is stage 4 of 5, and this is where most people who wing it without a system burn out completely. I've told you at the start, I'm here to build you a fully remote Airbnb management business, right? Not one that's just a second job, okay? Not just a little side hustle on the side. We want an actual business, right? Every message handled manually at all hours, every cleaner chased by text, every maintenance issue turning into a fire drill. This stage exists to build the business so it runs itself, not so it runs you. The amount of people that come to me with a business that is not a business, it's just a second job, is absolutely crazy. And this stage is the exact stage that's going to get you out of it. So there's, first off, is the 8-stage guest journey, right? Every guest passes through 8 predictable stages and every single stage has a job. Now let's get into them. The first stage, discovery and booking, right? Clarity and ease. This is what stage 3 already solved. Next up, we've got the booking confirmation. What we do is calm their post-booking anxiety immediately. Do not overload them with information yet. We just give them a booking confirmation by email. Next up, we've got the pre-arrival stage. This is where we set clear expectation. If a guest pushes back on any of the rules here, that is your early warning side. Then we've got stage 4, which is the check-in day, the single most important moment of the entire stay. The goal is zero contact check-in because that means everything is going swimmingly. Next up, we've got stage 5 during the stay. The guests want to be left alone, right? Since silence usually means they are completely fine, which is a good thing. Pre-checkout, simple reminders, no aggressive tone, no surprise charges. And then checkout and turnover, entirely behind the scenes, clean it on time, damaged logs, consumables restocked, ready for the next guest. And then stage 8 is post-stay and reviews. Thank them for coming, ask them for a review, handle any issues privately, never in public, and make sure they leave a Google review or a review on the website as well, because reviews are so important in this business. Why the check-in day specifically gets singled out, right? Think about it from the guest side, right? They've traveled for hours, they're often tired, they might be unfamiliar with the area, and their first impression of your property is whether they can actually get inside the place without friction. A confusing key safe code, a smart lock that will not sync, a message that arrives too late, any of those turns the first 10 minutes into stress, and that stress colors everything else about their stay, even if the property is beautiful, right? They are much more likely to find a tiny cobble in the corner of the house if they haven't got into the property easily, okay? A guest who lets themselves in smoothly, finds a Wi-Fi password, taps exactly where the guide said it would be, and settles in without needing to contact you at all, starts their stay already trusting you, right? Trust earned in the first 10 minutes carries through the whole review at the end. If something in your business ever feels chaotic, right, it is because one of those 8 links up here is broken somewhere. Find the broken link, fix that specifically, and the chaos usually resolves itself. Now, we have a check-in form which will allow them to actually rank their check-in as soon as they get into the property. So say it's like 3 p.m. at 5 p.m. they'll get a message about how they actually found the check-in through automation, which we'll get into later. But it's so important because that means we can actually help them. If that check-in report comes back 4 stars, 3 stars, 2 stars, it means we can help them from the off and build that trust again. Next up, we're going to build guest guides that actually stop the messages, right? A guest guide is ultimately your guest check-in instructions. What's the guest going to get so they can actually check into the property? And a strong guest guide is what makes zero contact check-in actually possible rather than just a nice idea on a slider, right? Ask one question when you build it. What would a guest realistically message me about at 10 p.m. on their first night? If the answer is in the guide, clearly and easy to find, they will not need to message you at all. The digital side, a guest portal tool that ties everything together, the verification, the guide, the upsells, the automated messaging to a single link per booking. It's worth setting up properly rather than sending guests out to hunt for PDFs. I start with PDFs, but I would use a dedicated portal. I use SweetUp, and if you want the discount code, hit me on Instagram. We can get you onto SweetUp. SweetUp handles everything: the verification, the guides, the upsells, automated messaging, everything through a single link. So easy. You can literally go onto the app, click connect to Wi-Fi, it connects to the Wi-Fi for you. If you're not using the dedicated portal yet, you can do a well-designed Canva PDF, and I do give everyone inside my community a template. But to be honest with you, you may as well start with SweetUp because it literally pays for itself in terms of not only time back, but also money made on upsells as well. The physical side, the 3 frames near the entrance. Frame 1, a warm welcome, house rules, stated plainly, not buried in legal language. Frame 2 is contact information, any upsells you offer, early check-in, late checkout, or parking. And then frame 3, fire safety information, escape plan, not optional, a genuine safety requirement. This is literally 3 photo frames on the wall of every single property. Next up, so important, the Wi-Fi sign. Get a Wi-Fi sign in the property, the network name, the password, and a QR code next to it. That will solve the single most commonly asked question in short-let hosting without a single message being sent. And I know a lot of operators out there say, oh, it takes away the homely feel of it. Look, they know they're staying in Airbnb, and in reality, they want a hassle-free stay. Having a Wi-Fi sign stuck on the wall or in a frame is absolutely fine. And if it's in the same colors as the bedroom itself, or it's in the same colors as your company, it just makes sense to be there. Guests want speed, they want simplicity, and they want to enjoy their stay with Wi-Fi, okay? Next up is guest verification. This is an absolute non-negotiable, okay? Before anyone gets property access, 2 things need to happen without exception, regardless of which platform they book through. Every single platform, Google, Vrbo, Booking.com, Airbnb, TripAdvisor, any platform, they all have to do this, right? ID verification of the lead guest, and sometimes in different countries, Spain, UAE, every single guest that's staying, a signed rental agreement, okay? Super important. No exceptions for anyone, right? Not even a guest who has stayed with you 3 or 4 times. They need to do this every single time. Then you decide deposit or waiver. Now, there's 2 options here. They can either pay a refundable deposit, somewhere between £150 and £350, 300 to 350 for larger properties, 150 for smaller. It sits untouched, generating nothing until someone actually goes wrong. If after the stay there's no issues, refund back to the guest, or they can choose a non-refundable waiver. Now, I price it at £25 a night up to £110, which basically means they pay a smaller fee, kind of like when you rent a car. You can pay a waiver to cover you up to the deposit, or cover up to the access, or you can pay a deposit, right? What we do, we offer a waiver, non-refundable waiver, because I can count on one hand literally how many times a guest has actually had issues. What this means is when they don't cause an issue and you get £110, £50, that's pure profit in your pocket, right? Often the smarter play financially and genuinely one of the cleanest ways to add income to a booking without ever touching your nightly rate. Last month alone, we made 20K on damage waivers. It is such a good way to make money. It's crazy. The part people miss, right? You are still responsible for covering the damage up to that deposit equivalent value, regardless of which option the guest picks. So keep a completely separate damage reserve pot funded specifically by way of the income. Okay. So if, for example, someone pays a £50 damage waiver and causes damage up to £350, you still need to cover that damage cost, right? And you use the pot of money in the damage waivers to subsidize. Simple as that. So you treat that pot as protection money, never spending money you dip into for anything else, right? Ultimately, once it gets to a point, you're making 20K a month from it. Obviously, that pot's pretty big now. Someone's not going to cause that much damage. Even with the number of changeovers, you can move some of it out. 2 more questions worth adding in your pre-arrival form. What is the purpose of their stay? Is it for work? Is it for holiday? Is it relocation? This will quietly feed back into your pricing and listing strategy over time and your remarketing strategy. Would they consider extending, or do they require accommodation in the next 3 months? That will feed directly back into future direct booking opportunities. If someone says they're staying for work and they need accommodation next 3 months, my automations will instantly email and text them, follow up with them and say, hey, so you're staying for work. And you see you've got a requirement for accommodation in the next 3 months. How can I help? Dan, CEO. It's simple as that. Next up is the automated messages, the calls and the WhatsApps. Manual messaging simply does not scale past one property. Honestly, no matter how many properties you have to have automated messages in place. AI has made this easier than ever, and we'll get into that in a little bit, but automated messages is the first layer anyway. The moment you're juggling 2 or 3 listings, answering every single message live becomes a part-time job of its own. And what do guests want? Guests want complete simplicity and speed, okay? The amount of, we have AI on the front end now, and I'll go through it in a second, but the fact is the AI responds so fast that no one ever calls us anymore because it responds with the exact answer, which I'll get into in a second. But before that, we have the automated messages. You want an instant booking confirmation. This is the moment that they book, right? Which will also gently nudge them towards the travel insurance or about the required things they need to complete, the verification, etc. Next up, pre-arrival 24 hours before, the guest guide and the full access instructions. First morning of check-in, a friendly, everything's settled in okay. The day after they arrive, this will catch any problems early before they come to a bad review at the end. And then the night before checkout, the keys, bins, and checkout time, the perfect moment to slip in a soft rebooking offer for a future stay, or even an extension as well. If you're doing the verification, which I recommend, you're going to send the verification details and the requirement about 7 to 14 days out from the booking, which is going to have that link where they can complete it, or just somewhere in there. Now, keep every single one of these short, genuinely friendly, not robotic sounding, and reuse the single guest portal link throughout the stay so they never have to go hunting through old messages to find that access code or Wi-Fi password or even complete the verification. Now, the automated message is the easy part, but the calls at 2 a.m. are when most operators actually burn out, and this is what comes on to HostBNB.ai. Now, the honest gap in almost every single setup, right? The automated messages, they're going to handle the messages on the platform. But guests do not only message on the platform or text, right? They call, they leave voicemails when the Wi-Fi is down, they message in Spanish or Mandarin when your template is written in English. Most of the automated messages won't even cover text, to be honest with you. And what HostBNB.ai will do, it's a 24/7 concierge that answers every single call, every SMS, WhatsApp, email, message on all the platforms in over 30 languages in under 3 seconds, right? Connected directly into your PMS or a channel manager, so like Guesty, Uplisting, Hostfully, whatever it is, so nothing falls through the cracks, okay? It does not just reply with a script, it resolves the query end to end, right? 94% of guest queries resolved with no human touch at all. 40,000 plus saved a year against staffing a night shift, and I co-own the platform myself. I literally built this platform for myself, and we already have 35 plus operators on it. That Wi-Fi question that you got, the checking confusion, the noise complaint, all of it is handled before you've even seen your phone. The only thing that reaches you is a real emergency escalated properly. And this is live inside my dashboard, right? This is the analytics from last week. 79% of messages and calls was handled by AI. okay? Average saving of 26 hours worth of messaging, and the average response time was 21.8 seconds. And you can see as well, it went down to as little as, if I just pull up my actual software now for you. So you can see it went down to as little as around, I think this is around like 30 seconds maybe. But yeah, if you go into my actual analytics, this is live. I can refresh it right here. You can see 78% guest resolution rate on all calls and messages. Average response time, AI responded to 34 resolutions. Absolutely incredible. And you got the average response time now 21.9 seconds. Now, HostBNB.ai is absolutely incredible. Automate the vortex and stop there, and you've fixed maybe half the problem. The calls are half most people never solve, right? This will do all the calls, all the guest messages. If someone calls you at 2 a.m., they're getting an answer. From the off, it handles 80% plus of guest messages and 60% plus of phone calls. If you want to find out what HostBNB.ai can do, whether you have a portfolio or not, DM me on Instagram. We can chat through it. I can send you some demos. I can send you a couple of links so you can actually talk to the AI itself on phone call, on messaging. Just hit me up on Instagram and we can go through it. 4.5, handle inquiries like a filter, not just a reply inbox, okay? Every single inquiry that lands into your inbox is a signal, not just a question to answer, okay? Structure every single response in 4 steps. Acknowledge and welcome them warmly, answer the actual question clearly, reconfirm one key rule expectation naturally within the reply, and invite them to book, okay? Push back the inquiry exchanges of valuable information, right? If someone pushes back hard on reasonable house rules or asks you to bend something you're not comfortable with, that is worth knowing before they've even booked, it's completely fine not to convert every single inquiry, right? One bad guest genuinely costs you more in time, stress, and a potential review damage than 10 good bookings combined. I always say, if you've got a gut feeling it's off, it probably is, right? If you feel like something's off in this inquiry stage, then just don't take the booking. It's as simple as that. There's much more bookings to get out there. And like I say, one bad guest wastes so much time and energy and the potential for a bad review anyway and damage than 10 good bookings ever will. So act from abundance, act from a place of no, these are my rules. You do the rules or you don't book. Everyone else has done these rules, so why are you different is what I would say, okay? Next up, engineer your properties for 5-star reviews. Engineer the whole system for this, right? 5-star reviews are not luck. They're not just a byproduct of a nice property. They are an output of a deliberate system, okay? Before the stay, set the expectations clearly. Outline the rules plainly. Send a warm confirmation message. Before the stay, on my listings, you can literally see all of the rules for the property. If I pull up one of my listings here, here's one of my listings. When you go down into the show more section, you can see all the rules. Plain and simple. There it is, deposit. So create deposit or waiver, check-in and check-out, early check-in, upsells, the ID verification, the check-in form, everything's there. Now, this does not put people off. It says, this person actually knows what they're doing. And how do they know? Because, they've also got reviews of other people. They've also got 2,598 reviews and they're still 4.69. They're probably going to be a pretty decent management company. That's what people think, okay, when they go onto your listing. So set the expectations clearly, outline the rules plainly, and send a warm confirmation message. During this day, make the check-in genuinely effortless. I've already been through this, but make it so flipping easy for them to check in and so contactless so they don't have to message you that it becomes natural they're going to give a 5-star review anyway. Send the first morning check-in message. Make sure the property delivers exactly what the photos have promised. Nothing kills a review faster than a guest feeling misled by staging. If your property does not look like the photos, then make sure it does, okay? Good professional photos are a must, but if the property itself does not look like the photos, then you are just asking for a bad review. Nothing worse than checking into an Airbnb and it looks nothing like the photos, okay? Make sure, if your photos are very good and edited, then make sure your property looks the same. After the stay, if there's anything we could have improved on, please let us know here directly first. And if you had a great stay, we would appreciate your 5-star review. That single sentence will quietly funnel complaints to your inbox privately and genuine praise toward a public review. Ask them to please let us know directly first if you had any issues. And then if they do leave a 5-star review on platform, ask them to leave a 5-star review on Google as well. Because if they leave a 5-star review on Google, it means if I just type in 53 degrees property now, you'll see how many Google reviews we have. 606 Google reviews on Google. And that looks absolutely incredible in terms of the business. Loads of 5-star reviews, average 4.8 across 6 reviews. That's what we want. Build an actual brand. Yeah, we have some small ones, but hey, you can't please everyone, okay? Ultimately, some people just are Karens out there. But look how many 5-star reviews. That is so much credibility and trust. And that is built off retargeting the people that leave a 5-star review. We've got systems set up that if they leave a 5-star review on platform, we will automatically send them an SMS, email, and message on platform to leave a Google review as well. Example here, lovely cottage in Chester. This was 1 week ago. Host very responsive, easy to check in and within walking distance city centre just across the river. Charlotte, being a short walk over from the river from the city centre, is one of the most details that makes the whole trip easier, and it is great The check-in felt seamless too. Gesture awards to explore, and you're welcome back anytime. Appreciate you, Charlotte. Absolute legend. As you can see, this is normal inside my business. 5-star reviews every single day. And if I showed you my review channel, you would see it. Multiple 5-star reviews every single day. And it's not difficult either, all right? Getting a 5-star review is not difficult. You just have an offer, which is a good property, good location, staged well, easy check-in. You're just fulfilling on the promise in the first place, all right? That's why Airbnb management is so easy. You just have to make sure the guest has a good time and what they expect they get. That's literally it, okay? Respond to every single review you receive, good or bad, professionally without defensiveness, and review your feedback regularly because guest reviews are essentially a free ongoing audit of your operation. The 1-star reviews I have on Google, literally people have never stayed before because they just want to build, damage the reputation. In reality, I've replied to them cleanly. I've made it clear they've never stayed, and it is what it is. We move on. But because we've got so many 5-star reviews and we've done it from the off, we obviously have a lot of credibility still. Next up, automating your cleaning and turnovers. Without question, this is the single most operationally demanding point of the business in the day-to-day. It absolutely needs a dedicated scheduling tool, not a WhatsApp thread you're personally managing at 9 p.m. every night. Connect your cleaners through a proper scheduling platform, one that syncs automatically with your calendar. We use SweetOp. So SweetOp not only does the check-in guide, the check-in form, the damage waivers, deposits, the ID verification, the maintenance tracking, it also does the cleaner tracking as well. It means every single cleaner has a specific property checklist covering every single room, the linen, and the restocking for every single clean, right? And it requires photo proof after every completed job. And the way we set up SweetUp, I give my full template to my Academy members as well. When they set up SweetUp, they have my full template, and it means that the AI will scan the photos that get put on there and compare it to the listing photos to find out if it's actually been done correctly and flag anything that hasn't. Then it's the launch protocol, right? Launching a new listing is a controlled process with a clear sequence, not an impulsive click of publish, right? This is it, the 4 steps, right? First off, confirm the property is genuinely ready, furnished, fully photographed, access tested, safety items physically in place, not just clicked on a form. Do one final line-by-line review of the listing itself. Set sensible initial pricing with your guardrails active. Keep your calendar availability deliberately tight at first, probably only around like 3 to 6 months out rather than a full year, then expand gradually as real data comes in. So these are the first 4 steps, and these are the 4 that people completely miss, right? They run a complete dry test of the entire guest journey before the first real booking. Booking confirmation, verification, guest guide, check-in instructions, cleaner scheduling, the whole chain. Go through it as if you're a guest. Stay in the property if you want to. I know a lot of people do this. I personally don't do this, but some people do. Definitely go through the whole guest journey though to work it out. Go live, go live calmly, and monitor messages closely in the first days. Go live calmly and monitor messages closely in the first few days. Over communicate proactively for the first couple of weeks. Check in on arrival day, check in on the first morning when you build the real confidence in the system, okay? After 2 to 4 weeks, properly review the performance, occupancy, average rate, the questions guests kept asking, any review feedback, and then refine the pricing, the messages, and the amenities accordingly, right? Now the maintenance, right? I've already said SweetOp's a tool to use 100%. If you want to get access to it, message me on Instagram. You do not need a huge list of 40 different tradespeople, right? You need one dependable generalist and a short list of specialists for the rest, okay? 70 to 80% can be handled by one reliable handy person. Leaks, loose fittings, general wear and tear. Backed by a small bench of vetted specialists for anything that's like gas, electric, plumbing, or otherwise regulated that we need. Every single issue gets logged in one central system on SweetUp. However, it is reported a guest messages, a cleaner text, a trade turning up on site, a virtual assistant inspection, no exceptions. And the beautiful thing about HostBNB.ai is it links to this reporting software as well. So it's going to actually build a maintenance task based on the escalation of the guest. If the guest has a maintenance issue, right, not only will the AI reply, the AI will also create a maintenance task inside of SweetUp for you. That's how crazy it is. More than ever now, like AI has just completely changed the game. Then you've got to triage every single issue. And the beautiful thing is AI does this for you as well. AI will tell you if it's an emergency, if it needs to be immediately handled. That's like no heating, no hot water, major leaks, electrical faults, a guest locked out. Then you've got urgent. That's like same day or the next day, appliances down and Wi-Fi outage. And then you've got non-urgent that doesn't have to be sorted during the stay, but can be completed after the stay. A loose handle, minor cosmetic tear, where schedule between stays rather than disrupting a current guest. Now, AI is going to literally filter that for you from the front of HostBNB.ai. If it's not logged in the system, as far as your business is concerned, it did not happen, all right? Inside AiBNB, every single one of my students gets access to my SweetUp template. That's the full maintenance framework, which goes from HostBNB.ai, so the AI will answer the guest message, input it into the maintenance workflow, and then the maintenance is tracked forever. When you miss maintenance, honestly, you're going to have so many issues with future guests that then see the maintenance issue going on. So stage 4 checklist to summarize: ID verification and signed rental agreement enforced on every single booking. Damage deposit or damage waiver structure decided and active and printing you cash. 4 automated messages, guest live already. Inquiry response structure in place. 5-star review system running. Cleaning fully scheduled with photo proof and required. Launch protocol followed, not skipped, and maintenance triage system logging every single issue automatically. This is genuinely the point when most self-taught operators or operators taught by people who just don't know what they're doing or haven't scaled a business get comfortable with 1 or 2 properties, but structurally it means they are unable to scale past that without burning out. When you have this full end-to-end system in place, right, it becomes pretty easy to scale, right? Because when you're on a phone call with a landlord, right, and I know that this system, I believe in this system because it's all set up, it works, they're going to feel that on the call, right? Most operators can't scale because they don't even believe in the system they have because it just doesn't work at scale. The point is that version of you with 10, 15, 20, 25 properties has all of this in place. So simple as that, right? The stage 4 is now done. A guest now runs through a predictable, mostly automated journey, if not majority of the things automated, but we'll get into that more in a second, with minimal manual intervention. The most important part is they have an amazing experience, get 5-star reviews, which then builds your brand. Stage 5 is exactly how we break past this ceiling that most people get stuck at. And stage 5 is the optimized phase. So let's get into it. Everything up until here gets you a working, genuinely profitable, completely remote business. And for a lot of people, that is already life-changing outcome. At this point, you can make it 2K, 5K, 10K, whatever it is. But this stage here, the optimized stage, turns it into a real company, meaningfully more revenue per property, real protection from the risks that quietly kills operators, right? And a team structure that lets you take a complete step back. For a very long time, I was a bit weird about stepping down as CEO, but that's completing the whole journey. I employed a CEO that completely took me out of the business. And now I don't have to do anything. I honestly spend less than 30 minutes a week. I only implement more AI into the business. And that is where I want to get you guys to. And obviously, if you followed everything so far, then you are pretty much all the way there already. Now, 5.1, so optimize. The first part is squeezing more revenue from what you already have. 7 levers. In order, they are worth building. First ones, upsells done properly. Early check-in and late checkout, convert best of all. Cost you almost nothing to deliver. Add pet fees for pet-friendly properties, mid-stay clean for longer corporate stays, supplier costs plus your admin and coordination time, plus a small risk margin. The rule with every single upsell is price it with a real margin built in, never at cost. Deliver them through your guest portal using ensuite upsell requests will stay centralized instead of turning into another WhatsApp thread that you completely missed. Revenue added per stay once early check-in, late checkout, and mid-stay cleans at price with real margin. Early check-in, late checkout literally costs you no money at all. You just need to arrange it with the cleaners, and you can automate all of that through AI. If in the system, in the check-in form, they complete your early check-in, late checkout, it will automatically update the guest reservation in Guesty in your channel manager, which the cleaners then see as well, and SuiteUp handles that full workflow when you have my template. And then it's more platforms, right? When you manage Airbnbs, you do not just post the property on Airbnb. I was on with someone today, just joined the program, and literally they're only on Airbnb. You want to connect through the channel manager and put your property onto more platforms. Vrbo, Google Vacation Rentals, Expedia, TripAdvisor. We've already spoken about, obviously, Booking.com, OpenRent for 14 night plus days. And the channel most beginners never think to touch is corporate travel agents, right? Large companies book staff for accommodation through dedicated corporate agencies rather than directly on Airbnb. Amazon do not go on Airbnb to book properties for 30 people. They go through a corporate travel agent like Silverdor, for example, who gave me a booking, which was, they came to me and said, Dad, I need to house 30 properties. They booked 15 of my properties for 3 months, and that single booking made me £250,000, right? Get your properties in front of these agencies that place contracts and business travels and unlock longer, far more stable bookings than the typical weekend guest churn. Like these corporate travel agents, right? Situ, Silverdor, Ruth, that's just a few of them. My team get a 15 plus corporate travel agents, a full list of my account managers to get access to. When you get on those platforms and you have a good relationship with them, you literally get premium prices, better guests, longer term bookings, and ultimately more money in your pocket, okay? Next up, direct bookings, OTAs, online travel agents, Airbnb, they take roughly 15 to 20% on top of every single booking. When you build your own direct booking system through your channel manager, like Guesty, for example, instead of just dropping price to match, you can actually charge the landlord a 5% fee specifically on direct booking. So we charge 5% commission on every single direct bookings. You've already seen my direct booking website. You can book direct right here. I can book this one, for example. We're going to book now. I should be able to see the available dates. currently booked out. If I wanted to book these dates, I could literally book them right now on the platform, search, and it'll pull out the price. There we go. I can literally book it right now on the platform, on my website. Simple as that. When you have that and it's literally that seamless, ultimately guests can book online, and that booking, I'm going to charge a 5% direct booking commission to the landlord. Why that math is elegant, right? The landlord is going to pay less in total fees than an OTA booking that would have cost them. The guest's going to get a slightly better rate than they would have found on Airbnb, usually 5 to 10% less, and you are going to still earn more than your standard commission on that stay. Everybody's a winner, and that's the most important rule. That's the most important thing, right? One rule you must respect, though, you cannot actively solicit a guest who booked through Airbnb to rebook direct next time. That risks account suspension. However, you can do a lot, like I showed you on our Airbnb profile. We're going to just find it now. What you can do on your Airbnb profile, if you click on 53 years property, you will see that I am pushing people direct anyway. Now, it is a good way to do it. Check my profile for a better discount, and that's the way to get them. But you want to build your direct booking flow through your own website in property signage and outreach to past guests instead, entirely outside the platform. Every single guest automatically gets put into a database, and AI will actively send emails every single week, every single month to those guests to remarket to them. Now, plus 150% for orphan nights, not a discount. A single unfillable night sitting between two existing bookings is what is an orphan night. Instead of discounting it, spike the price, because we don't want one night stay anyway. You may as well get paid big premium for it. Why this works? If someone books it anyway, it is effectively worth 2 nights of normal revenue. If nobody books it, you have lost precisely nothing, because that lonely single night was realistically never going to fill. If you fill it with a really low booking, you're going to make no money on it anyway, and you're going to get a bad review because the guests can be so annoying when they stay for one night. 2 or 3 night gaps behave a little bit differently. A small targeted discount on just those specific dates work better there. What we never do in either case is discount the whole surrounding calendar to patch one small gap. Now, it's so important to be able to actually make sure these orphan nights are bookable, because it's so important because you're going to rank higher on Airbnb if you have more availability. Even these single nights need to be available to book, otherwise you're going to get hammered on the algorithm. So this is how to revive an empty calendar real quick, right? First, diagnose rather than panic. Check for accidental calendar blocks, which is what my AI automatically does for all my clients. Compare your listing honestly and get against 5 close competitors, so check your pricing, and check whether your own minimum stay rules are quietly filtering out bookings that you want. Now, the crazy part is, like I say, my AI that all my team get access to, or all my AiBNB host members or AiBNB members get access to, automatically sends them an update every single day with the exact nights that are currently blocked. They can then check the nights that are blocked. If there's any issues, it might be an owner stay, long-term booking, whatever it is, or a potential booking. But if it's a minimum stay requirement, my AI will automatically give them the exact solution to fix that problem. Then you just got to match the strategy to the season. Low season is about stability and covering your costs, not chasing an unrealistic spike, all right? Yes, Airbnb is seasonal, but that's absolutely fine because the landlord itself expects it. Now, we want to get proactive, right? Weekly availability updates. Send directly to corporate accommodation agents and relocation companies. I send out an email every single Thursday to every single corporate travel agent, every single business guest that I've ever stayed, every single week, with the accommodation that is available the next week, the next month, because then they're going to know what is available. And it's all about touch points and building that relationship. And the more touch points we get, the more we speak to them, the more they know we're active, and the more we know we're still there. You want to be the first person that people think of when they have a booking to go somewhere. Local directories get listed with insurance providers and relocation firms. These guys are going to give you some absolutely massive bookings. Someone like Situ, for example, can give you an insurance booking that's going to pay 30, 40% higher than what you would normally get. Nearby construction sites, have you already sorted accommodation for your team? Literally find out the contractor on the site by Googling where the contractor is. I was on a call today one-to-one. When we find out the exact contractor on the site, they can then email them and get to the accommodation officer who manages the accommodation. You get in with those construction sites, you're going to make a lot of money from it because they're going to pay a premium. They're going to stay longer term. Happy days. The low-tech tactic worth trying is the hotel car park trick, I call it, leaving flyers at budget and business hotel car parks nearby, offering contractor teams already staying there a cheaper whole property alternative to the next booking. You can also write down the numbers in the van and then cold call them. It actually works incredibly well. Ultimately, they're going to be paying way more staying in a Premier or Travelodge than they would pay with you because they work out on a per room basis. With a property, they can book a whole property with a kitchen, bathrooms, a living space, nice TV for way cheaper than they can book a Premier in, but they just don't know it. So you need to get yourself in there as well. Passing bookings on that you cannot take. Inside the community, we have a booking exchange, so we pass on bookings with 5 to 10% commission of the total booking value. This means that any inquiry lands that does not fit your account or your portfolio, you don't just decline it, you refer it to another trusted operator inside the community and get 5 to 10% commission. Shane, you've obviously spoke about already, but he's just referred a client to me for the next literally 2 years, it looks like. He's getting 10% commission on booking. The booking's 5.5K a month. He's getting £550 literally for doing nothing. I'm handling all the management. I'm winning. He's winning. The client's winning. Easy as that. Like, put this in an example, a 30-night stay at £100 a night, 3K booking, passed along at 10%. That's £300 for a 5-minute introduction, 3 similar referrals a month. You can make £900 a month just off referrals. And I'm working with a one-to-one client at the moment, building out a booking agency, and they do exactly that, all right? Now, some of our community members have genuinely built an entire side income, like Shane that I just spoke about, out of nothing, but referring bookings they could not possibly accommodate themselves. And the point is, Shane has his own properties. They're just full because he's already got such good contacts. Next up, you want to actively chase corporate and contractor demand, all right? The guest type behaves completely different from tourist bookings, right? Longer stays, fewer changeovers, lower cancellation risk, and far less day-to-day guest management once they are in. Keep the pricing super simple, one clear total or a price per room or a price per guest. A discounted nightly rate reflecting the length of stay, and cleaning and linen built into the rate, not an itemized as extra. Just include it in the rate, weekly cleaning and linen changeover. They're going to love it anyway, and you're going to be able to keep the property in perfect condition. Do not try and add a lot of extras. It just confuses people. One simple price, one clear total, or priced per person or per room. Agree payment terms before confirming anything. Bank transfer, invoicing, or company card. With upfront payment or stage payments in writing for longer stays. Never release access without confirmed payment. If someone sends you a screenshot of confirmed payment, but it's not hit your bank yet, then do not give out access details. People can just fake them, okay? 5 tactics in order of effort required, okay? First off, proactively call corporate booking agencies weekly with your current availability instead of waiting on them to think of you. Use a contractor search base if you have access to one to find active construction properties in your area and call the companies directly. If you want access to a search database, then DM me on Instagram. I can give you a good app to use. The hotel car park method, absolute belter. I actually did it once where the flyers got stuck to the windscreen. I guess it's good marketing, but it was raining at the time. Flyers at nearby budget of business hotels. Find out the numbers on their vans and ring them. Recontact previous guests. I do this every single Thursday because they normally book for the next Monday at around that time, which tends to land really well and can be automated once you've done it manually a few times. Run a referral scheme specifically for business guests, paying up to 5% of the booking value for a successful introduction. So not only are you trying to get those business guests in again, you're also offering them a referral fee. Contractors love a referral fee. Imagine making money just by introducing someone, okay? Next up, turn the interior advice into an actual revenue line. You advise on interiors, you're not fund them. And this is about staging properties for landlords, right? That boundary still holds completely, but nothing stops you from turning that staging advice into a paid service. I have a staging company called 53 Staging that makes 10K profit alone every single month. And you position it as a launch optimization rather than interior design, right? Tier 1, fully furnished checklist, completely free, covering every single room, matches the teaspoons, builds goodwill, and costs you absolutely nothing, but it's a template that I give to all my members anyway. Tier 2 is a pre-designed shopping list with 2 or 3 style options, clickable product links, quantities per room, high margin once the templates exist. You just reuse it over and over again. I price this at £500, but if you want to go cheaper, $250 to $300. Tier 3 is from £600 onwards, a fully bespoke shopping list with layout recommendations tailored to that specific floor plan. And then Tier 4 is a complete design and fit out service, sourcing, delivery, assembling, styling, and final walkthrough. You can start this from about £1,500. Does not include the cost of the furniture itself. It just includes the cost of your time. We actually start ours now at 1.5K for a 1-bed, but it goes up pretty fast, up to like 4K plus for a 4-bed. Because I tell you now, it does take a lot of work to stage a property. What you can also do, if you want to, is you can partner with a staging company, just add a markup on top. So if they're going to charge 2K, you can charge 2.5K plus the furniture. You do not have to offer all 4 from day one. Even just the free checklist in the £250 to £300 tier is a legitimate revenue line most operators never think to build, and it's just more money per deal signed, right? Go even further, and you can layer this into rent service accommodation. Instead of managing a landlord on behalf for a fee, you sign a lease yourself as the tenant, and you keep all the revenue the property generates above your costs. It's taught as an advanced selective tool for operators who already have a track record, never as a starting point. You can actually start in rent to rent. Rent to rent is basically this, right? You secure a long-term rent of a property, you pay the landlord a consistent amount each month, and you make the difference between what you pay the landlord plus bills and what you rent it out on Airbnb. If you rent it out on Airbnb for $3,500 and your rent plus bills equals 1.5K, you make 2K a month. It's as simple as that. You do make more money with rent to service accommodations, so rent to rent or rental arbitrage. However, the risk sits with you, right? With management, the landlord owns the risk. You're paid a fee regardless of the month. Only your fee slice counts towards VAT. Rent to service accommodation, You own the risk entirely. Rent is due whether it's booked or not. You collect 100% of the booking revenue. So the £90,000 threshold of VAT in the UK arrives far faster. If you are going to start a rent service accommodation, I always say it's easier to get a deal over the line at the start because everyone wants this guaranteed rent. It's very easy to switch them to management. If you're going to start, only do 3 to 4 properties and make sure you stay below the VAT threshold. Otherwise, you can get absolutely cooked on that. But you've got to structure it as a fully separate company, all right? Separate bank account, separate accounting, separate VAT position. Even if the two share a public-facing brand, your management company can then manage your own units for a real invoice fee, keeping the entities cleanly separated on paper as well as in practice. I have 53 Degrees Property. My rent-to-rent company has 35 properties in there. And I have my management company that manages those properties, 53 Degrees Management. The difference here as well, you have a setup cost per unit, usually 3 to 8K to furnish and properly launch a single unit, essentials first, comfort second. You can finance the furniture, but you still need to pay the rent. We go through how you can negotiate a deposit-free period, but you still need to pay the rent upfront for the first month. Or sometimes you can negotiate a rent-free period where you can actually set the property up and then finance the furniture. But realistically, safe boundary, you're looking at 3 to 5K per deal when done correctly. The operationally though, absolutely the same. You're still doing the guest messaging, still setting the prices, quietly hides how different the underlying commercial risk actually is. Done right, it can meaningfully accelerate your income. Like I say, you can make upwards of 1 to 2K per month profit in very not great locations, to be honest. Done carelessly, it can hurt just as fast because you are constantly guaranteeing that income every single month, no matter what happens. And a slow season with no landlord to absorb the shortfall. Next up is protecting the business from risks that actually hurt you. Damage, emergencies, difficult guests, fraud, non-payment, each has a defined response, right? First off, damage and claims. This is the governing rule, worth repeating exactly. You manage the damage, you do not personally absorb it with management, okay? The moment anything happens, you log it immediately with a timestamp, photo, and evidence. The AI will already do this for you, HostBNB.ai. Airbnb bookings, air cover may apply as a backstop, but it is still entirely evidence-based and never guaranteed, so your documentation is what actually protects you. What normally happens if there's damage is a cleaner will fill out the form, the AI will log the damage, the AI will put the damage into the maintenance board, and then at least you've got all the data in one place, timestamped as well. Outside of Airbnb, you can charge the card on file, make sure you've got the correct T's and C's. All my clients get my access to my template, so you're actually covered and allowed to do that. Your waiver or deposit only covers the damage up to its own stated limit. Anything beyond that is the landlord responsibility, always. And that boundary needs to be written clearly into your management agreement from day one. Like I say, all of my clients get my templates anyway, so make sure you get a management agreement that actually has that in there. And again, with the waivers, if they pay a waiver, you cover the shortfall between the waiver and the deposit. Above the deposit, if you cannot charge the card, then the landlord can claim on their insurance or they'll take the hit themselves. Emergencies, the same 9-step response every single time. First off, the AI will acknowledge the guest instantly with a calm, reassuring message, HostBNB.ai. Log the issue immediately in your maintenance tracker. The AI will do that as well. Assess the real urgency proportionally rather than panicking. AI will do that as well. Act within your pre-agreed spending authority with the landlord, informing them after if genuine safety or property damage is at risk. Call the right trade first time rather than guessing. Keep the guest updated at every stage of the fix. Consider compensation where it's genuinely warranted. Inform the landlord factually once it's resolved, and then close the loop. Confirm the fix with the guest, update the records, and review what could prevent it happening again. No heat, a flood, a gas smell, a guest locked out at midnight. Having this memorized means you never freeze under pressure. And the great part is, as soon as someone joins my academy, AiBNB Host or Scale, they get a list of all my SOPs. So every single thing that's ever happened, they get a list of straight away. Now, difficult guests, 3 buckets. We've got some Karens out here. A genuinely legitimate difficult guest, no heat, a real safety concern. Fix it immediately, no argument. Minor or manageable, a missing item, a small maintenance niggle, acknowledge and respond quickly, but it does not trigger an automatic refund, resolve quickly. Behavioral, opportunistic, right? The classic, give me a refund or I'm leaving a 1-star review. Stay politely firm, reinstate the facts from your listing and house rules, and never negotiate on the threat. If someone genuinely says, and you can get this out of them, give me a refund or I leave a 1-star review. If they're on Airbnb, booking.com, you'll be able to get the review removed for sure, right? And if they never stay, they can never leave the review in the first place. So if they are threatening based on the house rules, but it's clearly linked on the listing, then they're not going to be able to stay anyway. When they don't stay, they can't leave a review. They have to go through the correct house rules verification step to get into the property. Ultimately, always stay calm and neutral. No matter what is said to you, document everything on your side. The moment guests learn that pushing hard gets them a refund, you will attract more guests who push harder. And the funny thing is, I used to use someone else's AI tool, and this is one of the reasons I built my own. But the other AI tool that someone else built that isn't that great would basically realize that if it gave a refund, it would always get good reviews. So it started giving out refunds. HostBNB.ai does not do that. HostBNB.ai works on how I would work, which would not give the refund. It would stick to the processes. Fraud protection on direct bookings. Once you take payment directly from rather than through a platform, layer your defense properly, right? Using something like Stripe, all the automations that we go through inside the academy. Automated fraud scoring on every single payment, extra verification triggered for high-risk bookings like last-minute stays on foreign cards. We always take deposits for last-minute bookings or short bookings. Full ID checks on the lead guest, a signed rental agreement every single time, a complete timestamp evidence trail of every transaction in case of a chargeback needs disputing. Like ultimately, like a lot of the systems that we build can do this for you. AI will literally will check the card that's been used, the address they've put in the card details versus the address on the license that they've put or the ID they've put in. It'll check the name matches as well. And everything like that, AI will sort for you. Never let a stay begin or continue without full payment received. No exceptions ever. Not for a guest who has stayed 3 or 4 times, not for a corporate client who always pays eventually, not just this once, because they can just not pay you. It's as simple as that, right? If you don't take that payment up front. The moment this rule breaks once, you're no longer running a hosting business, you are chasing a debt. In the UK, unresolved debt of this kind can escalate all the way to a small claims court for amounts up to £10,000. It's just not worth your time. Just take the payment up front, okay? The amount of people who have been dubbed by a fake screenshot or even just like letting people in because they know they're going to pay and they don't pay. One of my friends, £10,500 in payments not taken. Just make sure you get paid for every single invoice. Do not give access to the property until that's done. 3 bank accounts, not 1. I know we said 1 bank account at the start, but now that we're optimizing, we want 3. The first one is an operating account, and it's not 3 separate banks. It's just 1 bank with 3 different accounts in it. Every guest payment and OTA payment payout lands here. The landlord payouts plus property costs are paid out from it. Mostly not your money, just passing through. The management fee account, this holds your money, topped up with 1 clean monthly transfer of your own fees. So every single month, you send out the statements, and what you do is you total up all your management fees and you put it into the management fee account. This is like your profit account, okay? This is what your business is actually making. This is where your salaries come out, system costs come out. After the first month, you have enough money in there to pay out the systems there anyway. Just make sure you're not spending client money, basically, or feel like you've got a false sense of security. The damage waiver account, this holds all your damage waivers funds. They go straight into that account through our software that we teach, kept separate so they're clearly ring-fenced and easy to track. The single change will make your bookkeeping, eventually your tax return, dramatically simpler. Next up, build a team so the business does not need you every hour. Like I said, we are building a fully remote business here, okay? Somewhere around 5 properties, sometime soon if demand is high. The workload quietly tips from manageable side hustle into a second full-time job. And this is where a lot of people get stuck. The clearest signal to hire a virtual assistant is this point where you feel like you're just got another second job. First off, hire on onlinejobs.ph for Filipino VAs. For Filipino VAs, hire on onlinejobs.ph. Usually charge between £3.50 to £6 an hour. Typically the strongest for long-term hires through dedicated VA platforms. Ultimately, they're very good for like going through systems, ultimately following processes. If you want someone a bit more experienced, you've got someone from Cape Town based, hire from LinkedIn Jobs. They're going to be about the same, £3.50 to £6, or about £6 to £10 an hour. Typically the strongest for people with like intuition. UK-based, more expensive, £15 to £25 an hour, hire from Indeed or LinkedIn Jobs. I would only look at this if you're really looking to get someone who's like high quality and ultimately like an ops manager rather than a VA. Even still, do not employ them, contract them, because that's going to work out way better in the future. Realistically though, Cape Town is a great option because you're going to get someone who high quality, has intuition, wants to scale the business, and you can incentivize them heavily through a good KPI structure that I give to all my team and all of my clients. The piece that actually makes delegation work though is SOPs, right? Standard operating procedures. This is a simple rule to live by. If you have personally done a task more than 5 times, it needs to have a documented SOP, a short screen recording or a clear written checklist centralized in one place, ideally Notion, rather than scattered across chats or folders. And that's exactly what a VA operate independently. That's exactly what lets a VA operate independently instead of messaging you every single minute or 15 minutes with a question you've already answered a dozen of times, okay? The point is, every single client that onboards with me gets all of my SOPs from day one with my system so they can just train their VA straight away. Simple as that. Next up, run a hiring as a proper mini process, right? Clear job advert describing the actual task, not as the virtual assistant needed. Screen the applications absolutely relentlessly against a short set of standard questions rather than reading every single CV. Run a short, structured interview focused on communication, organization, attitude. Technical skills can be trained. Those 3 genuinely cannot, all right? Put a simple roles and responsibility agreements in place. I give this to all my clients anyway, but the point is, right, you should hire on energy because ultimately energy cannot be trained, right? Someone's work ethic cannot be trained. Someone's focus cannot be trained. That is just built inside them, right? You need to hire off your gut feeling of their attitude, their organization, their communication. How much do they genuinely feel like this person is aligned with your vision and how much are they going to build this business with you, because that is what you want to be able to completely step back. You want someone ultimately who wants to build this business more than you do, and you hire through energy, through feeling, through ultimately their attitude rather than skills alone. Because someone with loads of skills might be absolutely useless if they're not actually buying into the vision in the first place. Then we just set up the systems before you scale the team. Slack for anything beyond a quick operational message, organizing the channels for guest care, maintenance, cleaning, new bookings, and reviews. Slack is your communication tool for anything. WhatsApp's fine for fast, urgent chats, but to be honest with you, take out WhatsApp, just use Slack, get all your cleaners in there, all your maintenance in there. WhatsApp should only be used with guests on the front end, and that's integrated with your AI HostBNB. A VoIP system basically means routes guest calls to your team professionally instead of ringing your personal mobile. It's got a cloud-based system so your VAs can use it. Something like Circle, Loop, Just Call, this is what I use, or 3CX works really well here. Time tracking software, Monitask, Time Doctor, visibility in a remote team workload without having to ask. Basically takes a screenshot every 15 minutes of their screen, tells you the breakdown of which apps they're using so you can make sure they're actually working, changes the downtime, tells you if they're using the clicker or not. International payments, a proper service built for far better rates, lower fees, cleaner records, and a bank transfer. I use Wise, that's the best international payment platform to get that set up. 5 things drive motivation on a remote team, right? Clarity about what is expected from them, recognition when they do well, so bonuses, KPI structure, a sense of connection to the wider team, even at a distance, weekly calls, daily calls, whatever it is, room to grow into more responsibility and ultimately higher pay, and trust that you'll not micromanage every single small decision. I've got to where I got to by being so good at just letting go. When you let go of control, and you ultimately, the only way you find out if someone's good or not is by giving them control. But ultimately, you need to have them trained, and that's why the SOPs are so important. But you get these 5 things right, and retention looks very different from the revolving door most operators experience when they skip straight to hiring, okay? You've got to be able to let the person do the role that you've hired them for in the first place by giving them the tools they need and the resource they need. Recognition built in deliberately, right? A quick weekly check-in, public praise when guest leaves great feedback about a cleaner, small performance bonuses, or even if like a VA is mentioned in the feedback, then we'll shout out the VA as well, and we'll also give bonuses based on how many 5-star reviews they accumulate. Keeping a remote team genuinely motivated without ever sharing a physical office takes deliberate effort. Honestly, I absolutely love my VAs. If they're watching this video, shout out to you guys. Some have been with me for like 5 years now, 5.5, 6 years, some for less, but they all are so dedicated to this business, and I absolutely love them for it. Next up, we've got get the money side handled properly, right? We spoke about having a clean tracking expense tracker at the start. Now we want clean statements, real accounting, and knowing your thresholds cold, right? Pay every single landlord and management at the same day each month. Around the 10th works well, giving stays time to complete and cost time to be logged accurately. Realistically, your cleaner is going to invoice you somewhere between the 1st and the 10th of the last month, and you're going to go back and forth on any issues. Base the payout on nights actually stayed, not nights simply booked. So a stay spanning and 1 month into the next gets split proportionally across both. When the built-in owner statements feel too basic, okay, a custom reporting spreadsheet with a line-by-line booking breakdown, real expense tracking, and a clear payout calculation for landlord genuinely is not overkill. Some of our largest student operators run exactly this portfolio in the 20 or 30 property range. It is the difference between a landlord trusting your numbers instantly and a landlord questioning every single payout. Now, we give our complete template to all of my clients, all my academy members, so they can just copy and paste it. You can also use pre-built stuff in Guesty when set up correctly. In terms of accounting, you want to move on to zero accounting software. Once you run multiple properties live bank feeds, and income and cost track per property using property track categories, not one company-wide total that tells you nothing when a landlord asks how their specific property performed this quarter. You want to feed the cleaning, the maintenance invoice as they happen, and automate booking data flowing in from your channel manager into Zero automatically. All of this is handled through automations, all of which I give all to my clients straight away. And then myself, I have 53 accounts. I own an accountancy firm specifically for Airbnb hosts. I genuinely understand short letter management businesses, the fee structures, the multi-landlord reporting, the VAT nuances, not a generalist who needs the model explained from scratch on every call. Ultimately, whether you join 53 accounts or not, whether you join the program or not, I'm going to help you in terms of how the companies are set up. I moved to Dubai for tax reasons. All of that is knowledge that I know, and no one else does that as well. Next up, you've got the 90K UK VAT threshold for the UK operators out there. Over a 12-month rolling period for a management business acting properly as an agent, it is typically your management fees that count towards that threshold, not the full booking value passed through your client or your account on behalf of the landlords. That distinction is worth genuine money, and it is exactly the kind of thing to get explicitly confirmed in your accountant early. Some accountants genuinely account all the booking revenue as your revenue, which is not the case at all, which absolutely cooks you on VAT. It's just your management fee in the management, because getting it wrong in either direction is super expensive to unwind later. That's stage 5 done. That means your revenue stacked, business is protected, the team is hired, the money is handled properly, right? Complete this and you are already ahead of the vast majority of hosts and hobbyist operators in the space. Honestly, like I say, we're going through absolutely everything. We've got stage 6 now as well. But 1 to 5, that is genuinely everything you need to get started, get to where you want to get to. And now the next final stage we'll go through in a second, right? Because what I've just showed you there is the full 5-stage framework, right? Mindset, rent to SA, the co-hosted, paid ads, and the intentional layer, all woven into stages where they actually apply, not bolted on some afterthought, okay? But stage 6 is why most people never finish this alone, right? Everything I've just shown you, okay? It is the actual framework that has built my whole business, right? Completely remote management business from start to finish. And if you execute it exactly as I described, it works, right? But the information was never the bottleneck in the first place, right? These are small decisions no one warns you about. Which SIC code to use? Get it wrong, banking and tax classification bites you months later. Which insurer actually understands shortlets? Generic landlord insurance is not the same product. A landlord goes quiet after 8 days. Chase hard or let it breathe, guessing costs that you deal. Is the maintenance quote fair, or are you being taken advantage of by someone else? Is my damage waiver pricing competitive in your market specifically, not in a video? Is my property priced correctly? Is the listing optimized? All these things you just don't actually know the answer to at the end of the day, right? Until you go through it. Every single one of those tiny decision points is where people either lose momentum and quit, or they just lose money learning an expensive lesson the hard way, right? Remember Matty, okay, we spoke about at the start. Professional cyclist, 0 property experience. His story is not unusual inside the community, right? It is a consistent pattern, right? Matty, 6 months in, makes more than 10K a month in profit. No business background, no investment portfolio, no family connections in real estate. Started completely from scratch, owns none of the units generating that income at age 21. What he had on top of the framework was people to ask the moment he got stuck, right? All the templates, all the workflows, all the frameworks, just copy and paste into his business, right? His first landlord went quiet. He didn't have to sit there guessing whether to chase hard or let it go. He asked inside the community, came on the weekly call, had a clear answer in within an hour. Within minutes now with Daniel AI as well. Pricing property 2, he didn't have to lose 3 days Googling forum threads. He got on a call with me straight away, and I'd already solved that exact pricing problem for done as the students before him. Scaling past 3 properties, the procedures, the VA hiring templates, the exact contracts were already sitting there, ready to copy and adapt, nothing built from scratch under pressure. Matty started on the AiBNB host program and then moved to the one-to-one program now, where we're scaling to 100K a month. If that doesn't put proof in the pudding, then I don't know what will. Like the real difference, right, between having the framework and executing it under real world pressure with real deadlines, real landlords, and real money on the line is being able to have me back in your corner, ultimately me in your corner, helping you getting through to the next phase. And that's the acceleration there, right? Piece by piece, not a vague feel-good claim, exactly what is inside, right? So you know precisely what you'll be getting, right? AiBNB host is for people starting from 0, course access, 3-month mentorship, templates, scripts, checklists, the AI system, the weekly group coaching. AiBNB scale for existing operators with 3 to 50 plus properties who need operations, team, and systems to grow. Look, I've taken people from 0 properties to 5, 0 properties to 50, 4 properties to 80, 30 to 240, all through this simple framework, right? One-to-one mentorship with myself, not a generic support ticket inbox where you wait for days for a reply. Real mentorship from myself actively running this exact business, which required monthly check-ins built into the program, right? All the done-for-you templates, contract library, the actual UK management agreements we use in our live business, exclusivity agreements, the full referral program pack, every VA hiring template, job advert, all the whole SOP procedure library, the exact damage waiver structure and templates that I use, live shared landlords deals every single day, real qualified landlords. I literally share them directly with my members first come, first serve, a vetted vendor network, everyone inside my community, in my network, insurance providers who actually understand short-let businesses, accountants that actually understand accounts, photographers that actually get the right photographs, fire risk assessments, fire risk assessors that actually do the correct ones, cleaning teams, all pre-checked by people who have actually used them. So your first supplier is search is not a blind roll of dice. You actually use the contacts exchange and the contact book to find your exact vendor. Continuously updated content. I have Daniel AI who gives me a full report of every single question, every single day of what was asked in that day. I then update the content accordingly to fill any gaps if there are any. To be honest, there's no gaps anymore. I'm just updating with what I'm doing on a day-to-day basis. And a certified host award on completion, a genuinely credible asset you can display on your website in conversation with landlords who are actively comparing you against other operators, right? The biggest part that's absolutely crazy that no one else has as well. Remember the 2 a.m. Wi-Fi question that quietly caps how many operators one person can run, right? Or how many units they can run. This is the other half of the answer. Daniel AI, right, which lives inside AiBNB. It is a complete version of me trained on every single thing I know, right? The frameworks, the systems, the SOPs, the exact answers I would give on a call not guest-facing automation, but for you, back-end AI that you can ask a question to at any time of the day with an instant reply within 20 seconds, right? At any hour when no mentor's picking up the phone. You could ask me at 2 a.m., Daniel AI is going to respond to you instantly, right? Now, you could genuinely do this alone, okay? 100%, right? Nothing here is watered down. The whole framework is free. You've just gone through it all. Real numbers, real frameworks. Some of you are disciplined enough to build every single piece on top of it from the notes you took today. So genuinely good luck with that. But if you've watched this, right, and you're feeling that this is exactly the business you want to build alongside, but you have no idea where I would start with that first uncomfortable phone call, that gap is precisely what AiBNB is built for, right? And that is exactly the gap that I want to close for you, right? So links below in the video. Go take a proper look at what's inside AiBNB Host and Scale. Faster than doing it alone with dramatically fewer expensive mistakes and real experienced people in your corner the moment you get stuck. Literally, link down below. Go check it out. You can see all the details there. The whole thing, right? One final time. Let's go through it, right? Repetition is what actually makes this stick. Stage 1, start. Register the business properly, the company's house with the correct SIC code, set up bank accounts, basic expense tracking, and register for data protection before you ever touch a guest's personal information. Stage 2, the fun part, secure the deals. Find the landlords through the right channels, in the right order, network, referrals, pay before any pound paid on ads, qualified every single lead against real numbers, master the model well enough to explain it calmly under pressure, price with a clear tiered structure, and close while momentum is on your side. Listing the property, get every single compliance certificate collected and verified before you go live, invest properly in photography, build a description and meaning list around one specific guest persona, and configure every single Airbnb setting that quietly hides in the background. Host it, right? Host is where we automate everything, automate the guest journey end to end across all 8 stages, verify every single guest without exception, automate the cleaning and turnover with photo proof required, follow a proper launch protocol, and keep maintenance running one central triage system. Optimize, stack genuine upsells, real margin, expand deliberately across more platforms, right? Build a compliant direct booking system, protect the business from damage, fraud, and non-payment, build a real team once the workload justifies it, and get the finances handled the way an actual company handles them, right? And there's literally zero property ownership required for any of this, right? Anywhere in that framework, I didn't tell you about a mortgage, no deposit. It's just a system that you can execute patiently and in the right order. And it's the exact same system a former professional cyclist, Matty, with zero business background, used to go from literally nothing to over 10K per month in profit in just 6 months, right? One uncomfortable phone call with a landlord at a time, but with all the support, right? Now you have the entire framework. What you do next with it ultimately is up to you, all right? If you like the video, like it, comment how you found the video, subscribe. You have the complete framework, right? Go build something real with it. Build an actual remote, fully online business that actually prints cash for you. And if you do want to talk about work with me, links below in the description. Click the first link, and I'll see you in the community.